today, starting with the Skies in the top lane. Make some noise. We got Castle in the jungle. Kizno in mid lane. Call me at bot, Sajed, and support Lions. And their opponents today on Sentinels in the top lane, Impact. In jungle, Humbach. At mid lane, Darkwings. Bot lane, Rahel. And support, Huhi.
Going to be really interesting to see these two teams make their LCS 2026 debut.
Rahel will join us shortly, I hear, yeah?
Yeah, he's scaling.
Yeah.
He's scaling onto the stage.
There we go!
Rahel, thank you. Thank you for joining us, sir.
The new kids on the block versus the team that defended their spot to kick off their opening weekend of LCS. A lot of talk around Sentinels, Jet. They're new to League of Legends esports, but they are a juggernaut as an org when it comes to esports as a whole.
And it's really interesting seeing how they're making their entrance into the LCS. They're not going all out right away trying to just sign giant big names or have a massive amount of big name imports. What they did is they signed two of the more experienced naturalized imports in Impact and who's actually an American citizen at this point because he's been here so long and gone through that process. They bring in Darkwings as well and Rahel from DSG, who really stabilized that team towards the end of last year, and then have the fresher import jungler.
Yeah, they were talking about it at the lounge earlier. You know, this is kind of 3/5 of last year's DSG roster brought in, but they worked incredibly well. If we just look at the stats last year, before Darkwings, Rahel, and who he joined, DSG, just Darkwings and Rahel, DSG was 2-18. That's not a great Jat stat right there. After
That's
they
a great
joined,
Jat stat.
being 8-9. Well, okay, you know, I guess it's a great Jat stat. Not a good stat for the team.
It's a great stat, actually.
Yeah.
That's such an improvement. That's
almost 50-50 win rate after those two joined.
Yeah, I would say if I was really going to try and make it an insane stat, I'd say 400% more wins in half as many games.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
that
a
sounds
better
incredibly
tagline.
impressive, right?
That's a much better tagline. Well, let's talk about it from the DSG side now, because what happened to them, they went into the offseason, they had to defend their spot as the guest team. This guy is the one team in the LCS that is not guaranteed a spot year over year. They had to defend it, and what was their reward for defending it? Almost a full roster rebuild.
It's
and
true.
Who's their first opponent? The team that took most of their roster. I mean, this is a crazy start of the year for DSG.
It really is a rough deal for DSG. But I will say, they also don't have their full roster to make things worse.
Yeah,
so,
it gets even worse.
It's just really unlucky for DSG, which would make it even more impressive if they're able to win. What I will say about DSG is I was really impressed.
We're all wondering.
Play?
We're all wondering. Shout out, though,
when he gets here. When he gets here. You'll have some stories about Kizno later, but I want to really quickly talk about DSG and Ido plus Castle. He didn't join the team until partway through the season.
True.
And I feel like he was a big part of their turnaround. So they got to hang on to Castle and Ido, and they're kind of building around that. We know Castle is one of the best top laners in the league in the laning phase, and Ido's going to try and put together these puzzle pieces to make a team that isn't last place. That's kind of their goal, is to make sure that they can pick up wins and make some upsets happen, because they're dealing with having the fewest resources of every team in the league.
But that's part of the fun of being a DSG fan. I see a couple in the audience waving their flags, having their jerseys on, is that they are the underdogs. They have to defend this spot. They had to do a full rebuild, save Castle, who is kind of their, at this point, it's hard to say franchise player, it's been 2 years, but closest to that they would have. But roster definitely built around him, and we are into pick and ban, and already a lot of focus around him. Things like Jace and Rumble taken off the table.
Yeah, and currently we don't have a Malphite ban. It has basically been a permaban on 26.1, but LCS is on live patch, and it's been nerfed. In the previous series, C9 and TL were still banning it, and currently, Ido has decided to leave it up and roll the dice.
Also important to note that while DSG is on blue side, because of the global changes at the competitive level, Sentinels have first pick, so they get that first choice. Malphite is up, but instead they go for the Azir for Darkwings.
Decent chance we get to see an Azir to Orianna trade if both teams decide to go for scaling. Castle also decides to just power pick his top lane, and instead of matching with the Orianna, they decide to match with the Taliyah, which I do like when you're playing Renekton, who's more of a player who wants to isolate, like win 1v1, if you have push and roam from your mid lane, you can snowball that top lane matchup even more.
Exactly. And also you're up against Impact, who historically has been one of the GOATs in the top lane. But last year, we talked a lot about how Impact had a rough year, if not his worst on record. So this is showing Castle, I think, some confidence, saying, I'll blind pick into him. Just give me that Renekton, give me the Croc. Absolutely.
Historically, Impact has been very good at neutralizing Renektons. Last split notwithstanding, where he had one of his worst performances in his decade-long history in the LCS. And it would be a very standard first 3 picks for Sentinels if they decide to lock in that Cassante and throw him top.
Corki and the Cassante are going to be locked in for Sentinels. So we have a lot of our carries, so we're saving the jungle and support pick for second rotation. But we do at least know that, yep, it will be the Cassante trying to equalize that Renekton in the top lane.
Biggest surprise, actually, is DSG just slamming this Pantheon very early right now. It's going to be a support jungle flex. We were wondering how DSG is going to play, because Ido had said with Kryra, the plan was to give him a bunch of resources, let him play his unique champion pool, and then carry the game. But now, because they're playing with Kisno in week 1, does that change how they're going to try and build their team strategy? Or are they just trying to have Kisno do an impression of what Kryra is supposed to be playing like? We'll have to see. We don't know where this Pantheon's going.
I'm leaning more the latter here. As a support main myself, Pantheon is a little abysmal at the current moment. I really don't like a lot of the matchups. His win rate incredibly low in terms of solo queue as well. Doesn't mean that it's unplayable. It still could be a flex, but I'm anticipating the Pantheon plus Taliyah being the combo in the jungle and mid.
Yeah, globally so far in 2026 on Games of Legends here, it's 49 jungle games to 2 support games.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but unlikely.
Possible. Heavily dependent on matchup, so we'll see what Sentinels lock in for their support role. Right now, they're focused on the 80 carries as they ban out Lucian. Alongside Nautilus, DSG will take out the Poppy and the Bard. Man, I love seeing some Bard. I was hoping we would get it every series.
We still might.
We could.
It's
next
fearless.
Game. Yeah. If anything, this means that we can delay it so that, you know, next game it's not Fearless banned. But Nico is on the table. That one I am expecting to go into the support role.
Yeah, this will almost certainly confirm that Kisno will be playing the Pantheon in the jungle. A lot of engage and hard CC coming out early from DSG. And it's Hambach, actually. He's going to give us our first carry jungle look with the Kiana.
Yeah, what a way to make a statement debut. Hambach, a player we haven't talked about too much, but he's one of the newer players to join us in NA. And already, this is a statement saying, day 1, game 1, lock me in a very squishy, very high burst damage assassin jungler, paired with Huhi on the Alistar, and the answer will be Kai'Sa for DSG.
I think the Kai'Sa makes sense. Every single person can give Kai'Sa a passive stack for him to fly into the back of a team fight if things are going well. But you just have to see the standard nature of the Sentinels team comp. When they feel like they're going to be the stronger team going into the game, very stable lanes, safe blind picks, good scaling, strong front line, with the only curveball being that Kiana. But I think because they have such a strong front line in the Alistar and the Cassante, that the composition for Sentinels makes a lot of sense.
A little bit of spice on top of all that nice. Sentinels in game number 1 having a more standard draft. DSG, when I look at this composition, though, I don't see the same type of scaling tools. I see a comp that really wants to get going early on.
So I know Azael was seeing some champ select bugs and things not getting traded.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up waiting.
Okay.
Because it's unlikely to actually be a...
But a little teaser, because maybe.
I fell for exactly the same thing that Azael has fallen from. I think it's still going to be Pantheon jungle. But it is. It's Pantheon jungle, Taliyah mid.
Yeah.
They didn't do a switcheroo on me.
But it's DSG versus Sentinels to kick off their LCS season. Riot Games Arena, make some noise for the new kids on the block versus the team that defended their spot. Sentinels, welcome to LCS. Disguised, welcome back. Happy to have you again. Both of them up against each other with a bit of rivalry to start off the year. 3/5 of DSG's roster last year is now playing for Sentinels. DSG with a full rebuild. Let's see if it gets them a win here today.
Send everybody top to kill Castle. Get revenge for him to not coming over as well.
We don't have as much time these days. There's been a lot of early game changes, specifically around the minion spawning. But a reminder, congrats to DSG. They defended their guest spot here in the 2025 promotion tournament. But it's not over yet, Jet.
Oh, they started the clock already. What are you doing?
We just need to remind them. we need to remind them that the clock is ticking. They got a little while, though, to get everything together. And that's what Ido was saying. You mentioned the coach. This is a rebuild. This is a team that's going to have to take some time to kind of get things together.
Absolutely. And diving into this game a little bit already, I want to talk a bit about Sentinels and why I actually think this team might surprise people. I think there was a lot of people that were whelmed by their original roster announcement because 3 players from DSG who seemed like a bottom tier team for a lot of the year, and then Impact, who had a bad split on Team Liquid. But when I just look at the way the team is constructed, I think the players' strengths when they're at their best works really well together. Okay. So I think Rahel was a great hyper carry last year. He actually
won a series versus C9.
He led the league in gold percentage, and that was with Darkwings in his mid laner. So their willingness to give most of the resources to Rahel was working, because I wouldn't say Darkwings was doing poorly on his control mage pool. And I'd say with the season changes, that can actually be amplified. Bringing in those carries as well as who he is, the shot caller. Like, 80 carries just have so much gold now with cashback and the inflated gold from the role quest.
Scumbag Golden Glue, that's crazy.
I think Golden Glue did a good job putting this team together. He didn't have massive amounts of resources, and I think he has carries that make a lot of sense. And if you're going to have a hyper carry like Rahel, why not have one of the best team-fighting top laners in the history of the league in Impact if he's able to have a bounce-back split? So that's where I like what Sentinels is doing, and I think because the fit is so good between the players, they might surprise a lot of people.
And you did rank them much higher than, I'd say, the average for Sentinels. And even much higher, still only 4th place, but still. Yeah. Higher than I'd say the average was for them across the board. So we'll see if they're able to deliver. And yeah, I'm speaking on Darkwings. Last year, it really was like he's coming in for 1 split. I talked to him a little bit earlier before coming into the game, and he was like, look, this is still basically my rookie year because he only got the 1 split. This is his 2nd split, so I'm still looping him in with the other rookies that we have right now, kind of like the APA treatment that we gave a couple years back. And yeah, he was solid, but now is a chance for him to try and stand out in the mid lane. But maybe they just put the resources into Rahel regardless. Either way, though, catching up on the game, we see that junglers are just pathing opposite sides. They're going to trade for different scuttles. No early game action here, but I still, when I look at DSG's comp, think that they're the one a little more pressured to go for earlier plays if we're going to see any.
They really are, and they have tons of river vision at the moment as well, utilizing the new super ward spots, the Phalites, to get extra vision in the river. You can see that bottom lane is just completely lit up, but they're not really able to do anything with it because both junglers just full cleared, got the crab, and are likely on their way back to base.
But it does mean that DSG have a lot of vision protecting Sajed. Another of these rookie players coming in here. Sajed, you know, most recent winner of MVP, Most Valuable Prospect, an award given out to NACL players. Some were confused thinking, well, why did he not win first team All-Pro? Because Prospect is not player. It's not that he was the best in his role. It's that we felt confident he would be a great prospect going forward. So he's joining the likes of Masu, Busio, Dokla. Big names have won this award in the past. So maybe some pressure as well on Sajed, but so far laning phase going all right for him. He's actually ahead about a wave of CS.
Yeah, hopefully it's just a little bit of hope because Most Valuable Prospect has resulted in so many players finding Tier 1 LCS success. And it's only 4.5 minutes in, but DSG is sticking with him. I wonder what the coordination is going to be like, because I know to make matters worse in the offseason, and these are just the difficulties that they're going against and why DSG should be favored as or seen as an underdog. They did lose 3 of their players, and then on top of that, being power ranked below most teams, they also don't have their full roster. So they're really playing with a lot of difficulties for this first game.
So how about let's do this? Let's catch up on Kizno's early game here, because as a emergency sub, didn't have a lot of time to practice with a team, if any at all. How would you kind of expect, if you're putting yourself in the coaching position, Ido to approach saying, okay, this is how I want to play around a Pantheon jungle right now?
I mean, for the most part, if you're dealing with a player that's not going to be there long-term, you kind of actually want to mold your team a little bit around him, make him as comfortable as possible, and then the other 4 people should be able to do that. So I would hope that it's just, what do you like in the jungle here? I like Pantheon, that's what I'm most comfortable with. Okay, great, now let's have it make sense. And in that case, they really have built a cohesive team composition. It's high execution, but it's anyone who goes in and lands the first CC, whether it's on Kiana, Azir, or Corki, everyone else kind of flies in and tries to one-shot that squishy. And I will say as well, like, Castle is the one who's going to have to create a lot of pressure on that Renekton, because he's the one that is in the most winning situation.
And also the one with the most experience on the team, at least with this organization. So, also one other fun fact, we're basically just lore dumping Kizno right now. That was my goal coming into the series. I was like, we're going to get some Kizno fans in the audience. Again, it's a tough position. Yeah! Somebody shouted out right there. Fun story I heard about them. He was actually a recommendation from Sajed coming in. So the two of them, old friends, played against each other. Sajed's, or rather, Akizno's first ever 5v5 experience was scrimming against Sajed when he was off-rolling in the jungle. Apparently he got bodied because Sajed was playing like Shaco and Kane. So maybe we'll have to ask him about that, the Shaco text later on. But they've also played on the same roster together, so it's cool to see that Sajed not only is a rookie coming into the team, but also is a rookie that's like, hey, I know a guy that can come in and replace Kryra, who's experiencing some visa issues.
I mean, things looking good for them so far. Pretty uncontested with what DSG has wanted to do. Calmy has held push in mid lane. The Nico support has appropriately kept the Alistair pushed in. They've had really good vision in River. And a 6-minute, 40-second uncontestable Drake because they had so much River control.
Yeah.
That's a good first 7 minutes of play.
Not too shabby coming in here from, again, the emergency sub for DSG. They get the shove in the bottom side as well. Still, Sajed is maintaining his CS advantage. And I'm happy that you highlight the fact that LYON's helping out with that a lot. Actually, we'll get back to that. Hambak looking for a play. Flash from Dark Wings. Response from Calmy. But Sentinels are looking for it. He didn't see Hambak, though! First blood to Sentinels.
That's a nice way to start your LCS life there. Your mid laner goes flash for flash. Even though Calmy felt pretty safe, you're near walls, and you're near a Kiana. So instant punish there by Hambak. Has no problems getting the one-shot button off on the Kiana.
Yeah, sometimes you just get a little overconfident there thinking, okay, I outplayed the 1v1, but Hambak committing flash as well. That is a 2-for-1 summoner trade, but that first blood gold being back in the game. Last year we had to get used to not having that anymore because it was feats of strength. Now that is more gold in the pocket of Kiana, who is going to have a pretty juicy back here.
Yeah, does a nice job stealing Krugs as well. I don't feel like that's going to be able to get matched by Pantheon as Pantheon's on the other side of the map.
That's a completed item.
So that is a really nice job of making sure they have something to play off of, and that Profane Hydra could be huge. Watch this one more time. I mean, Calmy probably just feels like he's safe, wants to get back to the wave. Hambak's on full vision. He just doesn't respect the EQ flash into ult, because that is a perfect one-shot angle for Hambak. He needed to keep running backwards. Beautiful play.
Yeah. So, unfortunate oopsie from the mid laner of DSG, but that is only first blood. If you remember, they still have that dragon from earlier. So, slight gold lead now for Sentinels, but all that going to be on the Kiana for now.
Quick call out as well. Is Golden Glue in a plain black t-shirt when they had a merch tent outside giving away bunches of Sentinels merch?
Well, yeah, he gave his jersey away. He's such a good guy.
Am I wearing his jersey?
Maybe, well, no, yours says Dark Wings
it does.
on the back. Yeah, okay. Shout out to you. But we see here some Hambak fun facts. Newer player coming into the league. Kind of a storied player himself. He's new to NA, but he played through the OK Bro pipeline. I also played with Morgan a little bit, new top laner for Team Liquid. As actually, we'll get back to that here because DSG are posturing around the Grubs, but Sentinels currently bully them off. Hambak with that big power spike on the item completion. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that Kiana.
If Kiana and Pantheon are in the same place and there's no numbers disadvantage, the Pantheon has to run at this stage. Hambak can absolutely run the map. He's got the 1,000 gold advantage completely for himself. And even though one Grub did go over to Akizno, the lead will slightly extend for Hambak's Kiana.
Yeah, and this is a tough spot to be in for Akizno as the Pantheon, falling behind the Kiana, and now a lot of camps cleared behind as well. We see 71 to 89. Hambak having a great debut. Also, fun fact, he's played with a lot of players that are coming into the league. He played with Castle a little bit back in the day on KTC. He played with Zinni, who we'll see tomorrow on Shopify Rebellion. So Hambak might be new to North American audiences, but not new to a lot of the players playing here in North America.
Yeah, the KT Challenger roster now having 2 players in the LCS this split. We'll get to see Zinni tomorrow. Hambak was on that team in 2024, was not on that team in 2025, but now he's over here in the LCS. And I think a lot of the success of Sentinels will hinge on whether or not Hambak ends up being a top-tier player for them, because I think Dark Wings, Rahel, and Impact are more known quantities, and if this team's really going to start contending for a title, it would have to be around exceptional play from their jungler.
And that is one of the things that they really wanted to upgrade as well. When you look at kind of the difference between DSG to the Sentinels rebuild, getting a player like Hambak is a big boon for players like Dark Wings who can play more stable mid lane and then just give resources to Rahel. Now they have more firepower here in the jungle. But speaking of that bot side, I'm still impressed that Sajed has been able to kind of hold things down on his own down there. Gonna go for a reset here. Maybe that's gonna be a first item completed as well, which would be ahead of Rahel, who expectations was, I definitely thought Rahel would have kind of the advantage in just laning phase and pretty much every point in the game.
Yeah, I think a lot of it does have to do with the matchup. Nico into Alistar is always going to be more Nico favored, and it's harder for Alistar to roam to, say, top lane, since the vision up there is just so easy for top laners to turn that into an isolated 1v1. So I think he's just conceding a lot. He's actually down more than it looks, because that's a 70-stack cull already from the Kai'Sa as well.
Impact actually finds the third and Topho strike, looking for the solo kill on Castle. Flashes forward! Finds it! Impact, welcome back to the LCS.
I mean, absolutely, and I just gotta say, Impact still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got it here, so beautiful job by Impact getting the solo kill. Oldest top laner in the league, getting the solo kill onto Castle. Beautifully done.
He's teaching these young kids how it's done, as Darkwings avoids Call Me with the flick back on the seismic shove. Next Dragon's up. Sentinels, not only do they get a solo kill top lane, but even on the bottom half of the map, they're able to get an advantage, pushing Disguised off of the second Drake. Let's get another look at that. So Castle, he's trying to get the wave in, and it's just a TP from Impact.
Yeah, so you can see Castle pushed up the wave, was just trying to clear it and then go back, but Impact realized this was a time for him to go in, despite the level disadvantage. Knows he has the solo kill angle, able to go under the turret, using the Cassante all out.
Yeah, through the minion wave, too. That's some confidence. That's some calculation from Impact coming in. And that was the question on my mind, was which Impact were we going to get? MVP Impact from 2024 or last year Impact?
Just because you're the oldest player in the league for top laners doesn't mean you don't got it. Age is just a number.
I've never seen a 0.9 after an age. 30.9 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a decimal rather than the months. Yeah. Conserving space. You can work it out.
Once you hit 30, you don't say how many months old you are.
You know, 31 soon.
Yeah. Soon, TM. Soon. Not the oldest in the league, but yes, definitely using that experience. Oldest top laner in the league. Yep.
Core JJ is the oldest player in the league.
All right, we're just gonna start calling him out. Huhi, let's just list all the 30-year-olds here. As we have an invade. Hombok's actually pushing Kizno, one of the young kids, out of here. Oh, you have that one too.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I'm ready. I have stats, so Core JJ, as you can see, the oldest player in the league, but Huhi also very experienced. But again, like, I think in the past in esports, you would, honestly, when I started in the league, people were saying, oh, if you're 25, your hands are going to fall off. That is clearly not true. Faker's 30, Core JJ's 31. You can see Huhi's over 30 as well, and they're still at the top of their game. Impact getting a solo kill onto Castle here earlier in the game.
So I just turned 30 a couple months ago. So what I'm hearing from that is that I still have a chance.
You still have time.
I still have time. Yep.
If you devote your life to League of Legends for multiple years, you still have an outside chance of making a challenger roster.
Hey, I did play on the playtest team yesterday to warm up the stage, and I had a great Malphite game.
Congratulations.
Malphite mid. Think about it, everybody. Hombok, another invade onto Kizno right now. Weaver's Wall to try and lock him down, but a supreme display of talent, taking a long journey. The circumference around the map now, the Grand Starfall. Kizno's looking for it all onto Rahel, all alone, but Hombok's in trouble. Oh, it's dead! Ult's onto the wrong side of the wall, so he has to commit flash, but it's still a kill. DSG will get 2 members.
An extremely goofy play that we just saw right there. I need to catch myself up on it, because it appears that Sentinels went way too deep. The Talia wall created such an interesting connection.
I've never seen that. For
the Qiyana ult, because the Qiyana ult is going to track the nearest terrain and just circle until it runs out of terrain. So I feel like that delayed the Qiyana ultimate. Once we see the replay, I'll see if that ended up costing him the kill.
There is travel time on it, so, and it made a huge amount of terrain connecting 2 big pieces of Summoner's Rift. So yeah, that's going to be a Pagoda moment. I think that's worth it.
But I mean, just looking at the numbers here, he is pushed really deep.
3! That's 4! Oh no, just 3, okay.
Yeah, it would have, it kept going.
Yeah.
Because of the Talia R.
Amazing.
But it also means that they're just completely outnumbered. I think this was a bad invade by Hombok. And then also DSG doing a good job of collapsing and completely staying in the game. Almost a mistake there by Kai'Sa, almost costing the kill. Ends up just costing him his flash. We'll see if that ends up mattering before that flash cooldown comes back up.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where, again, as a rookie coming in, this is his first game playing on the LCS on this stage. So moments like that do happen. Still have the flash to get the kill at least. That's gold into the pocket of Sajed, who now has a sizable lead over Rahel.
And this is a Kai'Sa comp.
Yeah.
So him having the 1.7 thousand gold lead, 1 from the laning phase, 2 from stacking his cull, and then 3 from getting that shutdown on the Hombok. that's exactly where you want the gold to be going, and DSG is absolutely in this game.
One thing I want to track now, though, is what Sentinels does now that there's no flash on the Kai'Sa. Because at the NACL level, yes, he's MVP coming in from NACL. Yes, he found a lot of success as Masu's replacement on FlyQuest Challengers. But you don't get punished for things like not having your flash around Herald plays at NACL. Does a team like Sentinels punish that more? So eyes will be on Sajed going forward if he can stay safe. Currently, though, it is the Herald not contested. DSG just have Kizno soloing this one as they push top.
Trying to race for first turret. They should be getting that extra gold now if Impact can withstand this pressure. Getting that extra gold on his ear is going to be real nice. And now Huhi's up here to cover. So giving up Rift Herald, but they're sending the squad. Yep. It's actually 5 thinking about heading up top.
Sharks are circling onto an Alistar and a Cassante. 2 tanks, hard to take down, but they just dropped the Herald. Maybe they kill the turret first. As Sentinels have a teleport coming in. Huhi pops the ultimate early. Impact with the third and Topo strike. It's going to be a sacrifice of the Alistar. No, he flashes. Gets out just in time. DSG will only get the turret.
That's got to be a little disappointing for DSG. If they send 5, they definitely get at least 1 kill, but then Sahed would have lost the mid wave because Kai'Sa was kind of circling the river, decided to go down and catch that wave. Still equalizes turrets, but Huhi, I think, is pretty fortunate to get out of that one alive.
And it's one of those moments where maybe if you commit everything, you can ride the Herald into another turret, convert it into 2, but Dragon also on the map. They want to go for a reset, now back on the map for this.
But if they do that, Rahel probably gets mid. So like I really understand Sahed's mindset here, saying, I have a lead on the Corki. If I match him, I'll always win.
Yep.
So there is a smart individual call there for him to make sure his game is in a good place.
I don't think Sajed's going to have a chance to get a second item, though, before this Dragon fight. Although, as I say, that everyone's positioning topside. They're TPing topside. Everyone, again, going to Dark Wings. TP response from Sentinels. It's only Calmy. Now Kizmo ulting in. Dark Wings has the backup of the team. He was the target, but who's hunting who? Supreme Display of Talent not landing the mark as Huhi's in some trouble. Rahel now joins in for the first kill as Sentinels do hold the line for 1. Dark Wings pushes Castle back. Pop Blossom coming in. Will land on a 2. Sajed can free fire, but he only gets 1 while a triple goes to Rahel.
Again, a bit of an awkward fight. You could see that DSG was trying to fly in from all angles, but the Kai'Sa just couldn't find the right angle, and as you mentioned, didn't have the 2 items yet. So that big gold lead that he had now diminished because Rahel ended up getting some kills out of that. So I actually like the idea of the play, but the execution just ended up falling a bit short.
I mean, you see Alistar no ult, you see a TP was used early, you see a lonely Azir, but Sentinels, really good defensive play.
It is. Watching this one more time, you can see Castle needed to avoid getting one shot, so he's not in there right there. Kizno takes damage, is almost dead before the fight starts, and then Rahel also arrives first, so there was no Kai'Sa combo one shot that you would ideally have. Doesn't fly in here either because they can get the kill out of Hambach without ulting, and everyone on Sentinels had already fallen to the back of the turret. So a pretty good response on second watch there from Sentinels to retreat to their turret while still doing damage.
And the story gets worse for DSG. Not only do they not find an advantageous trade for that top play, back-to-back top plays, but another Dragon goes to Sentinels, the more experienced roster, but the brand new org here finding some purchase in this game. They got a slight gold lead, and now they're up in objectives.
And I think if this team is going to succeed, it's going to be off the back of the team fighting for sure. Rahel, you want him to get to 3 or 4 items. That's where he was shining last split on Jinx and Aphelios. Dark Wings, a good control mage team fighter, and Impact, as we mentioned, a really strong team fighting tank. So even though they're not blowing out DSG, I feel like this is generally how a lot of Sentinels games are going to look.
And Castle finds a nice little chunk there into Hambach, who now is trying to push him away from the Raptors. The team pushed into the mid turret, but don't have quite enough push, as now Impact alone topside.
Yeah, and here's also where an experienced team is going to be able to outperform a team that is just put together playing with the sub-junglers. You could see 5 people were grouped there for mid lane, but they didn't have a reliable trigger pull, so they end up losing a bunch of farm in the side lanes. Now they're redeploying, but they're completely down on tempo because the deep push is there for Sentinels. They can get the Phaelite in the bot lane, so they have full vision now for Darkwings to push deep. Not to mention it gives time now for Hambach to move to the top lane and think about pulling off a gank to maybe get this turret.
Castle does have the turret, but it's very low. Impact pushes the cannon wave in. Now all out, pulls Castle back yet again. He will fall in the top lane. Grand Sorrowful was committed by Kizno. We can clear out the wave, some damage on the Impact, but I don't know if Pantheon will have enough to actually threaten the kill. Impact is trading it right on back. Hambach says, I think you got this, buddy. And Impact says, you bet I do! Sajed will get the the shutdown, but Impact with the solo kill.
Wow, Impact Hambach there getting a 2-for-1. It looked for a bit like Hambach betrayed Impact.
It did, yeah. And he trusted him.
But I'd actually say that was correct because they knew Kai'Sa was on the way.
He needed his bot camps.
If Kai'Sa arrives, I think he kills them both. So he protected himself. Impact got the kill anyway. Yeah. Perfectly done.
All according to plan right there. Yeah. But DSG, we have seen, even though they're falling behind, this was a composition that we highlighted needs to make early plays. They are trying to defend. They're trying to be aggressive as well. Kizno coming in here to attempt to save Castle. It's a nice look.
Yeah, he was thinking he was going to be close enough to protect from a gank, but the one-shot potential from the Qiyana. And yeah, this just looks like the biggest betrayal, but it's because the entire river is controlled by DSG, so they don't want to give away Qiyana as well. Ooh. Really, Kizno needed to just not fight the Cassante as much as possible because the kill was going to be secured regardless.
Yeah, and Aegis Assault went the wrong direction as well. He's going to get pulled back from the Atopo strike, so I don't know how much of a difference that really made. Either way, some slight mechanical errors being shown by some of the younger players on DSG. While our Sentinels, I love how much they're playing the map. League of Legends, we're well beyond the days where you just stomp lane and you win the game. You have to actually play Summoner's Rift, and Sentinels seem to be doing that very comfortably with also a very new roster. 3/5 the same for DSG last year, but DSG will commit a lot of members again to the mid lane to clear this turret. 2 TPs coming in. It looks like Sentinels actually want a fight. Impact on the flank. Darkwings is ready for it, but Sentinels can't find it, so they actually commit 2 TPs, not going to land any kind of engage.
I mean, the biggest surprise this game is how starved Rahel is of gold. I was thinking he was going to be the hyper carry for this team, getting most of the resources, but he's, you know, a good 30, 40 CS below Darkwings, and the Kai'Sa's 2.2 thousand gold ahead of them despite being equal in kills, so that's still going to be their window back in the game. 3-item Kai'Sa right now. This is where AD carries really start to take off, is around the 3 or 4 core item marks with the AD carry quest giving them extra gold, with all of them taking cash back. They're taking what I think was intended to be a slight increase to AD carry income, and now they're getting 1,000 gold a game from
another great
back.
Starfall onto Darkwings. That is a teleport from Huhi this time with the Unsealed Spellbook. So Sentinels, man, they got TPs for days, always defending these top lane plays. DSG not going to find it again.
Yeah, they'd love to get this turret eventually. I think they might be able to get it on the next wave because they're going to see Kai'Sa on mid, they're going to see Renekton on bot, and maybe be able to push up, but they have to respect the Pantheon ultimate. No, sorry, the Pantheon ultimate is down.
He had just used it,
so they might be able to push in and get it, but Huhi's left, so they're just going to continue to trade waves.
Yeah, Sentinels happy to just keep a slower paced game. They do have great scaling tools available to them. And the pressure's on, I think, for a player like Sajed. 3 items completed, working on a 4th. Very far ahead of Rahel, who had a standout performance last split. And a player like Sajed, yes, he's not new to competitive play. He's been playing since high school. He was in one of the Riot-affiliated high school leagues. So he's been playing for many, many years now between Tier 3, Tier 2, and NACL. But still, rookie at the Tier 1 stage for LCS, and now he's got to put on a big performance here.
Yeah, Hambach lying in wait, hoping that someone squishier walks through.
He's going to go for the steal.
So much damage.
Yeah, not
Kizno
spotted.
Does not even realize it yet.
Kizno, I think, is maybe reading that there could be an invade. TPing in.
It's fine.
Yeah, Sajed's very far forward. Rahel, they still have Hambach on the flank. He's now spotted. DSG, the lonely Qiyana all alone, but the Pop Blossom was committed by Lions. The rest of the team, they were chasing back as Rahel kites back from Castle. Castle might just have him, though. Woo! Stunned up, CC. Can he get him? No! As a shutdown for Kizno on the Darkwings. In goes Call Me. He finds the shutdown of his own. Now Sajed says, tag me in. Rampage for the rookie AD carry. And a team fight win for DSG.
And that's the big win. They have such a big advantage now. Can they take this dragon and then go for Baron, or have they run out of time? Watching this one more time, Castle does so much good work to just buy time. So Lions gets the ult up on the top side. That allows the Kai'Sa and the Taliyah to free hit. But look, that's 3 full people trying to deal with Castle, while Kai'Sa is just completely free hitting the team. So DSG arguably pull ahead in this game with that fight.
One of those moments where when you track Impact there, I don't know if he knew where his AD carry was.
Get Baron.
They're going to get the Baron, so DSG, the rebuild roster, the guest team that had to defend their spot, are getting themselves in a very comfortable position in this debut game for most of these players here. 2,000 gold lead, equalizing Dragons. They get the Baron. Hey, they're back in the game.
Yeah, Sajed working on his Zonias as well. That's going to make him very difficult to kill in teamfights. And that's the slingshot that we see in that game, in this game off of that fight. I mean, just... You would expect Sentinels to have a cleaner fight setup, but I feel like Hambach getting spotted, having to kind of retreat, use his ultimate solo on the Renekton, allowing the Kai'Sa to free hit his front line. Puts him in a powerful position. A 3,000 gold lead now for Kai'Sa.
Insane lead for Sajed. The rookie AD carry. Again, I mean, we've talked about him a lot, but there's a lot of reason to be excited about a player of his caliber. He was Masu's replacement on FlyQuest Challengers. We know kind of the expectations. We have a player for Masu now, and Sajed was the one that stepped in, filled his shoes, was able to win the same award Masu did, now in the same league as Masu. And having a pop-off game #1 makes you wonder, what else is this kid capable of?
The promised Tier 2 and Tier 3 pipeline bearing its fruit here in 2026.
Don't watch EU. Don't look. You don't need to pay attention to Sajed. You don't need to pay attention to Kizno. We're good.
I mean, this is a very impressive showing by DSG. It's really bad news for my fantasy team as well, because I was thinking a team with a substitute, surely just load up on Sentinels players they're taking advantage. Oh, they are not. This
would be a huge upset for DSG to win this. And even if they had their full roster, I would have favored Sentinels over this version of DSG, but... I mean, sometimes it's the way the cookie crumbles.
Watching the dive, Meteos, Azael, Kobe, all had DSG 8th of 8 in their power rankings. My power rankings on JLXP, I put them 8th of 8. So I am very impressed with what they pulled together in this. They picked a high execution team composition. It's a Kai'Sa comp. They're playing with the sub jungler, and now they have Baron buff, Equal and Drake's 3,000 gold up, and looking to advance the game.
Can they push into another turret here? They just took the mid turret. They took the bottom turret, one last Tier 2 turret. DSG had a 2,000 gold lead. This Baron has ballooned up to a 4,000 gold lead now. And they do actually take down the final Tier 2 turret. Sentinels still, this is the third time now that Darkwings has been split pushing on his own, and he's getting close. Oh, he actually gets pulled back here. TP does not go off. Darkwings was trying to get out of there, but does have the shuffle to escape Call Me. No summoner spell, though.
Yeah, still no TP there for...
Oh, that's a Weaver's Wall. Call Me might actually look for the long chase.
Backup.
Darkwings with the Emperor's Divide pushing Call Me away, while Hui and Hambach were there to capitalize. But either way, he gets out. He's fine.
True, Pantheon Kai'Sa could have arrived at any moment, just 1 CC. They're going to keep the chase on now, knowing Impact's in top lane. If they catch anyone, they're going to look to pile in.
You watch the Jed. He's off screen right now, but that Kai'Sa ultimate can always follow up on one Pantheon W. So DSG with Killer Instinct looking for the play, but Sentinels do get their mid laner out of there. It just costs a TP and an ult cooldown, but that should be up before the next big objective. Speaking of, it's a minute for Dragon. It's not Dragon's Soul, so Sentinels again can scale, and they did a good enough job of slowing down the Dragon stacking of DSG that they even could give this one away and just continue to catch waves if they wanted to.
I mean, DSG really looking to make a statement here early in game 1. I know they still haven't won this game. We still have a best of 3. But
are you trying to cast or curse them? It feels like you're trying to cast or curse them.
I mean, maybe a little, but it's just... Listen, for those of you who haven't been following, like, the overwhelming opinion was that this league was a top 2 in TL and C9, maybe Lion sneaking in there. Then you have
Shopify Rebellion.
Then you have Shopify. Then there'd be 4, right? Shopify, FlyQuest, Sentinels, and
if you took
Lion.
the averages, it would be exactly that.
And then DSG and Dig are just everyone's 7 and 8. But DSG in game 1 now with a 4,000 gold lead on their young AD carry are going to try and, I mean, if they win one more fight, they could potentially end the game. They've eliminated 6 turrets already.
And it's not only the young AD carry, it's a jungler subbing in, and it's their top lane. Actually, we're back to that. Lions with a Pop Blossom defensively. They got him! Hambach just popped like a balloon. DSG will happily accept the jungle donation, as now they're looking for impact. He has to flash away from the flick back, and Sentinels now with 4 members will limp away from this Dragon.
And I like to play. They don't over chase in the 5v4. They're just going to take the free Dragon, keep extending their gold lead, keep growing Sajed's Kai'Sa. My God, they are looking good.
Yeah, if you had said, if you'd asked me ahead of time what my expectations were for this, I would have said, unfortunately, rooting for the players on DSG, but I'm expecting a 2-0 for Sentinels. Thankfully, nobody asked me that ahead of time, so I don't have to admit that, though. because that would have been a little embarrassing. Sentinels so far have not been able to really solidify their lead. They had one at one point. They were up a dragon. They were up some gold. But then one bad team fight, and DSG have been able to run away with it. Now, again, the scaling, I do want to keep reminding people, because games, if they go long, these types of gold leads don't matter. Where your team with the Renekton, with the Taliyah, with the Kai'Sa, like, yeah, you can still blow somebody up, but if you give a K'Sante 4 items, if you give an Azir 4 items, it can get really tough to end the game.
It can. I mean, if Darkwings is able to get one more item, he's really going to be pumping damage. I'd even say Rahel, even though individually he's 4,000 gold down on the Kai'Sa, if he completes an Infinity Edge, he's going to be a strong Corki as well. We'll be able to kill squishies in a couple auto attacks. But at the moment, like, this is previously what a completely full build Kai'Sa would be. He still has a slot for yet another item.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of curious if when we see more of this, like, what is going to be the 7th item build for all these 80 carries, because it's previously unexplored territory.
Usually we wouldn't even get to that point in a pro game.
We're 31 minutes in, man. He's got 18,000 gold of items right now. He is unbelievably fed.
Also, Call Me with a decent enough lead over his lane opponent, too. Really, the only lead for Sentinels is Hambach, who just got picked in that last play, just lost his spell shield there. The Baron has started. Hambach's going to have to try and find a way in.
He's
looking for the flank right now. Disguise decide to walk away. Sejet at half health. If he goes down, even with that Zhonya's, that's bad news for DSG, so Sentinels do push them off of the objective.
He took way too much damage there, and actually doesn't have any lifesteal in his build. He took Legend Alacrity. He has Absorb Life, which gives him 21 health per target killed, but that's actually really bad late game if you don't have Bloodlight on an 80 carry, because you start Baron, and Baron itself will actually take you like half health, so it really diminishes their ability to force Nash, surprisingly.
Yeah, maybe something to look at for that 7th item. Yeah, think about it.
A little bit of lifesteal, but he's the AP. I want a death cap.
Yeah.
I want that death cap.
I want to see somebody
so much
get
AP.
one shot by a Kai'Sa. Speaking of, Hambach has to use the supreme display of talent defensively. Castle was able to find a flank there. The flanking Renekton always terrifying for squishy junglers, as Hambach will actually walk back into the jungle. Call Me's lying in wait. Castle and Kisno will walk forward, clear out this control ward. Hambach will now see Call Me. That's the flash as well. A fantastic start, but a rough second half of the game for Sentinel's jungler.
I agree. The first blood looked great. After that, he's really had a hard time entering any fight. So with no jungler, flash, or ult, DSG is going to continue to try and hold control here on the river. And really anyone can land CC that allows the Kai'Sa to fly in, so it's very difficult for Sentinels to approach.
We see Darkwings going for a bag. Baron's been started. Darkwings, if he finishes the 4th item and can TP in time, maybe it changes things, but DSG, no contest, will pick up the Baron. 2nd of the game, another Baron power play. Let's see what they can do with this one.
Yeah, an important note, the power of actually getting Baron has been diminished this season. The gold reward is about half of what it was before, and it's a little bit tankier to take down, so Baron isn't as game warping as it would have been in past seasons. But as you say, 2nd Baron, the Baron minion's still very strong. The gold still coming in, almost full build Kai'Sa now. Just need another Rabadons to complete the 6 item dream for Kai'Sa, but I think they're just going to slowly control this and play towards Soul.
DSG, as long as they don't blunder, can control this game very far in enemy territory, but should be able to get it back off right here. We're just trying to get some vision down around Dragon. A minute and 10 for that to come up. DSG can use this Baron buff either to siege a turret or just control waves and go for their Dragon Soul. Now they are on that Soul timer.
Yeah, they don't want to overforce too much to give Hambach's Kiana a big angle, but I don't even necessarily think that with the big front line and even with Azir Corki that they're necessarily winning the front to back, because the Taliyah and the Kai'Sa just have such a big item advantage.
Whoa! Call Me! Use the Weaver's Wall to try and help out the team on the bottom dive, but almost dies. He does it though! He lives! Kisno, the savior of his middle laner. Darkwings will take down Castle though, because DSG were expecting a mid laner down there. Now they got a jungler. Kisno with a Grand Starfall, flash from Lions. The Jet dominating as the rookie 80 carry. He's exhausted, but he don't care. Who he trying to frontline for the team? Kisno doing the same. It's a trade of kills back and forth. Call Me will get shut down by Darkwings. Oh, what a scrap in the bot lane.
Oh my god, it's a bloodbath. 3 for 3. Sajed gets even more gold, so he's now 5,000 gold up, but you could see the Azir Corki range was starting to pay off right here. Loved the pick attempt there by Hambach. Call Me really sloppy moving towards moving between those lanes, that's the moment where you'd want to be able to get the pick. You can see they do get the kill onto the Kiana, but that distracted him from the fight up top.
Yeah.
So they have to retreat on the bottom side, and then a risky re-engage. Beautiful W there by Kaisa at the end. And it's just Rahel's damage is actually starting to be real here as well.
And it's tough to point out that Rahel missed one rocket on, yeah, we see the coach cams right there. Rahel missed one Corki rocket onto the stunned Talia. If that had landed, Talia would not have been alive for all the unraveled earth, for the seismic shoves, and then that made Huhi's job harder. So really tough. That was a great find from Hambach to actually get onto Call Me. But they couldn't kill the Talia, and now it is Dragon picked up by Sentinels there, actually. I'm just realizing, just kind of assumed coming out. They denied Soul, so it's 3-3 Dragon count right now.
That's really makes things fortunate for Golden Glue, and why he was the one excited after that fight. If they couldn't secure the Soul right there, that makes this game very even. And now they're actually on a bit of a timer, because the Kai'Sa's 6 items, the Corki's 4.5. So Kaisa cannot build 7.
Nope. You got your boots. That's the joke 7.
That is
the
yes. 7. So it's a real 7-item build.
This is it. This is the full build. You can get a elixir, but that's it.
He probably already has one, to be honest.
I would imagine. Yeah. All right. So Sajed does not get stronger than this point in the game.
664 AP, level 18, every item he wants. He could start becoming an AD if he wanted to get more gold to sell all his items.
Just unlock everything.
But I think that last push was their strongest window.
Oh, another Weaver's Wall now. Calmy's really fishing for these Grand Starfall as well. DSG using their semi-globals to try and catch out members of Sentinels, but Hui just walks away from the Pop Blossom right there. Now the flag from Hambach! Sentinels trying to turn it around, but Sajed is untouched. He got a huge shield. Darkwing's trying to push him away. Sajed positioning safely, trying to free fire, but Darkwing found him! The carry for DSG is shut down, and Sentinels hold the line.
This is still anyone's game. You can see them pushing back the mid lane. 2 for 2, but the carries are alive and no real objectives up. How much can they get off this?
Darkwing's TPing, yeah. He's going to go for a turret here. What a hero play. No, it's actually Impact going for the turret. But either way, Sentinels will get it. Darkwings with clinical precision keeps his eyes on Sajed. We'll get a look at a replay here in a moment, I assume. But I'm just going to be following what Darkwings does in that fight, because he's able to find all the gold for DSG is on Sajed.
He was fishing for Sajed the whole time. So the start actually, if Rahel gets hit by any of those first spells, the game might be over. But then they all commit, and now all eyes are on Kiana. Sajed, beautiful job doing the stopwatch, and then ulting to the side to get the execute. But he then sticks around with no ult, no summoners. Watch Darkwing's up in the top here.
Yep.
Waits for the stun. Sajed wasn't quite in range. He was trying to get the autos off during the stun. Yeah. As soon as he didn't kill Darkwings in that split second, Darkwings dashes, flips him back, and gets the kill.
It's one of those moments where if the enemy mid laner's just not paying attention, you can probably unload a bunch of damage as AP Kaisa killed them. But Darkwings knew he was paying attention.
I feel like if Sajed was like an inch closer to the wall, he gets 2 autos off on Darkwings while he's stunned, and the game's over.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't quite weave those autos in, and now we're here in what is an even game.
But I gotta go back to expectations. When I looked at Sentinel's roster, I looked at Rahel to be the primary carry. Yes, now 5 items has come back in this game, but Darkwings is the one that's actually pulling off some of these big plays, whether it's just split pushing in the bottom side and getting turrets there, or that moment. Darkwings, my expectation for him was like, okay, how does he stand out this year? He's still technically in like a rookie year, and he was solid, but how does he stand out as a mid laner? Plays like that, if you can chain those together, that's how you start getting fans as a mid laner in NA.
Yes, the NA hope here, Darkwings on Sentinels, but they kill Baron very quickly. They just have to be careful of getting Snap engaged on, because they won that fight, because it's now a 5-item Corki who's still one-shotting people, and because it's a max item Azir. That 3,000 gold lead, as you mentioned, when you're this late in the game, doesn't really matter that much. And if you look at the front line, especially this Cassante with the Protoplasm Harness, with how many resists he can get as well, it's going to be extremely hard to kill. So the front line is much stronger here for Sentinels, unless they can get some type of assassination onto either the Azir or the Corki.
And that's, DSG was able to get their gold lead initially around a Dragon fight where they out-executed. You could say the same thing. If Sentinels just find their one pick, if they find the Kiana ultimate into a wall on somebody like Lions, even somebody like Kizno with the GA, you can blow somebody up and try and get some big damage. Call Me, meanwhile,
is pretty big.
Yeah, it's starting to land. Castle has a flank here, but Sentinels They have the Azir ultimate. Now the Weaver's Wall yet again. Darkwings barely gets over and gets back to his team. Now it's Castle who might be caught out.
But they might
Grand
get
Circle
Darkwings.
goes not in the direction of Castle, but he flashes forward, jumps onto Rahel, has the Valkyrie to safety. DSG feel confident to push forward because of the low health bars of Darkwings, and Rahel having to use the cleanse. No flash on Corki either. Sentinels, that was a tough moment there. They thought they could turn on Castle, but DSG were ready to actually pounce.
Yeah, Darkwings ended up being at the back of the chasing party, and now they're going straight for Baron.
Yeah, Darkwing's back.
Burst this down.
Darkwing's backed and healed, and now a TP answer from Castle. Darkwing's gonna hold the wall over there. Who he TP's in as well. DSG though, almost got the pick onto Impact, but he's got the unstoppable.
Baron Shred is real, and they've also given away position on Soul, so if DSG just push them off here and then move towards Soul, that'll be a big advantage.
With the flash over the wall! Pop Blossom on three! Supreme display of talent, tries to turn things around. Darkwings can free fire, has the ultimate to buy space for Sentinels, and that's enough. An incredible engage from DSG goes awry as Sentinels hold the line.
That's crazy. They one-shot Rahel's Corki, but Darkwings and Hambach and Impact fight back the engage.
Yeah.
So, but this is important. To me, Soul for Baron, I'm taking Soul every time, and Sentinels is actually teleporting to control the Baron, but Soul is going to be going over to DSG.
Yeah, this would be the third Baron of the game. First for Sentinels, they commit to Dragon. DSG get that Soul. Call Me is here to watch the Baron go down, but will back off wisely. Away pushing top, away pushing mid. Sentinels are giving away a lot for this Baron. And now they will pick it up, but the Soul for the Baron trade and a basically dead even gold game 42 minutes in.
This is one way to start your LCS journey here. If you're Sentinels or these players on DSG, Sajed really wants to have this be his pop-up moment. He has changed his items. So he sold one of them
Shadow Flame
for a Shadow Flame. I'm
trying to remember which one that was. Yeah.
Beforehand. Nashor's Tooth, maybe? Is
he
gone.
still has the Nash. I see the Nashor's Tooth. Yeah.
Why
Does anybody in the audience remember Shadow
Kraken Slayer?
Okay.
So he's full AP Kaisa now, which is, they're in these situations where they're just kind of trying to poke each other, and now his W would take like half of the Azir or the Corki's health, but they are losing the poke battle because they have no sustain.
Yeah.
And Corki Rockets or a couple of Azir autos are chunking them out at the start of these fights. It's part of how Sentinels has stayed in this game. But now, we're definitely in a lull state because the team that was getting pushed in got Baron, so their minions will push back. But the other team has a Cloud Soul, so they'd be able to chase anybody down if Sentinels leaves their base by too big of a margin.
Yeah.
So
if DSG just wait out this Baron, they're in a fantastic spot. Maybe they find a way to make action happen, but expecting the game to go a little longer here. Everyone is approaching full build for game one of LCS between these two teams. And what a way to start the season.
That's the poke.
That's one. That's one right there. Think two more and he just dies.
If you land another, it might even kill because he would proc the passive with his 700 AP, and it might even just get him.
Shadow Flame additional damage.
He's become ARAM Kaisa at the very end of the game, rather than just being SR Kaisa.
You would play AP Kaisa in ARAM, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Who doesn't play AP Kaisa if you have Kaisa in ARAM?
I like tank Kaisa. I think it's fun.
Okay.
Think about it. You fly in,
losing fun.
Primary engage Kaisa. Consider it. Consider it.
Rand wins alt in slow.
Exactly, right? Yeah, I'm technically providing CC. But DSG right now still have their backs against the wall. I'm going to keep reminding us of that fact that they have to make very creative plays, which to their credit they have. They've used the Taliyah and Pantheon beautifully back to back to back. There have been 3 distinct moments where they've used Weaver's Wall to try and get on the members of Sentinel with the Grand Starfall on top of it. If they can find one member caught out, then that's a way to win the game, but Sentinels have not been giving them as many opportunities in this second half.
I know this is going to be a completely useless stat, but it's just a big number, so I like it.
Okay.
I almost guarantee you, without checking, that in your first ever LCS game, no one's ever had 25,000 gold, but that's what Sajed has. So they've increased gold in the game. He has cash back. This game's 45 minutes long, but I bet you no one in their first ever LCS game has had 25,000 gold
Can we get stats to check? Leo, our stats guy, can you check that globally? A rookie AD carry in debut
I'm saying
game.
LCS. I don't need to
No, let's make this
crash the
worldwide,
servers
Jack.
with the
Come
stat
on.
pool.
I think at this point, let's build this kid up. And again, I mean, it is important to remind people that this is a rookie AD carry coming in, and I think he has played exceptionally well. As Castle now finding Rahel, the more experienced bot laner, all alone. TB coming in, don't matter. position. DSG find a pick.
What a disastrous play there for Rahel. He was greeting a wave to try and get his maw, but we're 2 minutes from Baron and from Elder.
50 more seconds.
There's no reason to not wait for the wave to enter, and now the team's in a tough spot.
Darkwings is going for a play on this. Jet finds Lion. Supreme Display of Talent will go in, and it catches the Jet on the back half. Has to use the ultimate to try and get over the wall, but there's just nowhere safe to go. Shut down to Hambach, and Darkwings, what a crazy look.
Darkwings is having an insane game.
Yeah.
He's pulled off all of the big plays that they've needed. They lose their 80 carry 45 minutes into the game in a lane that doesn't have an inhibitor, and then they find the re-engage. I need to see that one again to see exactly what angle he had. We have comms too.
Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look at this.
Cancel. Oh, nice.
So Sajet thinks he's out.
Cancel, no flash.
Just
no
get pretty. Yeah, pretty.
No flash, no thing now. Oh, nice. Nice, Isaac.
Yeah. Can he? I think we have a death time on.
Thought he was out, wasn't quite out. The Supreme Display of Talent does have travel time. We saw it earlier with the crazy looping 3 walls together. That time around, Sajet not out of danger zone, but it's not the game over. Because of the waves pushed in for DSG, it's just some gold to Sentinels where everyone's pretty much full build. Let's look down the entire roster right now. Everybody except for top and support has full build now. That's 5 items on Hambach.
That's crazy. Even supports just being on 3 completed items is surprising.
Lions will get there. I believe in you.
Yeah. Thornmail will be completed soon for Impact. So he's going to be even tankier. So we didn't have the minimap in that last replay, but I did find it. I think DSG might have been able to win off this, except after they got the kill, Castle did go back to base because he was a little bit low, but then he teleported bot lane. So it was like a guaranteed 4v4 and 4v3 if they get the pick, whereas I feel like if they just push that wave with more people, they can do, at least do a 4 run on mid-top and maybe break the second inhibitor. But now we are Elder and Baron 20 seconds away, likely to be the game-deciding sequence here, and Sentinels have really pulled it back. Maxed build on Corki and Azir.
Important to note, though, we still have GA on Kizno. 3 Zonias from mid 80 carry and bot lane of DSG. They are ready for a fight, but it will come down to one big fight. Huge poke onto Rahel. Elder has spawned, so if they can't get a reset for Rahel, he's going to be in a rough spot. DSG will start up the Elder.
Rahel decided for Maw instead of Bloodthirster, so can't heal up well off of that poke. Elder de-leashes, more time to poke with Kai'Sa.
Sajet taking a very safe path. I like that. Impact in who he had a trap laid for him, and now Castle will face check and see it, who he's walking all the way around. Maybe the Cow can find something, but the Elder Dragon's already at half health. Who he does find, the engage on the Sajet! Has the Zonias to try and stay alive. Can he get out of there? Ult over the wall, knocked around, but Sajet still stands. Now it's Lions with the flank. It's Castle holding the line. It's Elder still focused, but Impact is stalling the Elder. Kizno flashes the wall, in goes Rahel. Double kill to the Corki. He's gonna get even more. Sentinels with the team fight win at the Elder Dragon. And Sajet trying to find something will fall. Quadra kill to Rahel.
Only Lions alive in a minion wave in mid. He's hoping to be able to push it back, but that's probably going to be a Game 1 win and Game 1 heartbreak for DSG.
Oh, they held the line for so long, but who was it? Huhi with the flank around the buff and finds Sajet. DSG tried so hard to keep their 80 carry alive all game. He played so well, but Huhi on support will find those engages. Sentinels have some minions in their base, but I think with their wave spawning, they should be just fine. Walking in a cannon, Lions is going to try and stop it, but with Elder Dragon on Sentinels, no shot of that. Welcome to the LCS Sentinels. Congrats on your first game win. Sentinels take win 1 against Disguised.
101,000 gold for their team by the end of this one. 41 kills in 49 minutes. It wasn't how they would have drawn it up, but Sentinels take the 1-0 lead in the series.
What a wild game 1. That was back and forth. There were so many incredible plays by...
When CLG won Summer Split in 2015, Smithy had visa issues for Worlds. Huhi was the mid lane substitute, so he was going to play jungle for that team at Worlds
Whoa.
if xSmithy's visa didn't come through.
I never knew that tidbit.
Doublelift knew that. I also hear Doublelift is streaming with Sentinels right now with their CEO and Tarek over on their co-stream. So I'm sure Doublelift has plenty of stories about the old COG days if he wants to tell them.
Shout out to the co-stream going on over there. I'm sure that they're feeling very happy about how that game 1 went. Maybe a little anxious as well, based on the way it ended.
Relieved, I think, would be the better word. Because I think expectations going into the series was the Sentinels was going to win, but the question was by how much. And then they should have lost that game, man.
Yeah.
Sajed was 5,000 gold ahead on Kaisa. Maybe he should have put a little bit of lifesteal somewhere in his build because he did end up getting poked out a fair bit towards the tail end of that game. And then just DSG's inability to play cleanly and cohesively as a unit because they are playing with a substitute jungler and they're also a newly assembled team ended up costing them. And then Darkwings really clutched up in some big moments there for Sentinels. And funny thing is there's no pictures on the 1-0. So it's still one more game and you're out of the series no matter how close that game 1 was.
Exactly. We see DSG now on the red side with first pick. They go for Ambessa, banning out the Jace, Varus, and J4. Sentinels ban out the Orianna, Ryze, and the Rumble. And let's see what they decide to lock in as the response here. Hovering the Lucian. So maybe a focus on the bottom side here. Things like Lucian Nami I've been seeing kind of propping up here and there. It's a great pairing with the Lucian.
Yeah, I like the fact that DSG in both games has just decided that Castle is going to blind pick because they want him to have prio over Impact. They don't think Impact's going to be able to get a good counter pick. And it just opens up
They know the draft.
their draft.
Play Nami. We got a sign right there. And, oh, it's up.
Okay.
Somebody's about to be very happy if that's locked in. This would be a very early bot lane matchup, but oh, they did it. I'm sorry, fan in the audience. Maybe it's coming later.
It could still come on pick 3, but they want to have a little bit of flexibility in case DSG picks something that is highly counterable here on their 2-3. So top lane picked already. Likely to see jungle, and then they have to expose themselves with something. It'll probably be an AD carry pick before this 1-2-3 is done. Oh, interesting. They just power pick both solo laners right away.
Okay, so, well, keep in mind, it could be Ambessa jungle. We have seen Ambessa jungle creep up here and there. It's one of the changes from the off-season. Things like Malphite and Ambessa, I didn't expect to be junglers, but here we are in 2026 on the current patch. So Aurora could still be going top lane or mid lane, depending on what happens with the rest of Sentinel's draft. I would expect then like an AD carry picked here for DSG to kind of hold that flex for as long as possible.
Yeah, not to mention they'll still be able to, in theory, counterpick support a little bit, but support will get fairly targeted with bans in the 4-5. Yunara, one of the most picked AD carries on the patch, so no big surprises there in the draft, and Nami looks to be locked in.
There we go!
As well.
Yeah!
There we go.
And the crowd goes mild for it. There we go. Oh, now, okay, there we go. There we go. Now they're having fun with it. All right, so Lucian, Nami, a bot lane into the Yunara. DSG will have to find a support that will help keep the Yunara, alive, but also powerful enough, because when I think of Yunara, I initially, when I saw her on release, was like, oh, she's gonna be like a scaling AD carry. I was shocked at how aggressive you can play Yunara in the 2v2 from level 1, because your Q alone and your passive, you have so much power. So they could still go for something to try and answer the Lucian Nami, even though that's a little scary to think about, because they're a very powerful duo.
Oh, for sure, but Lucian Nami also doesn't necessarily get that strong until a couple of levels in.
Okay.
So there's potential for some fist fighting in the bottom side, and I do wonder how Rahel actually is dealing mentally after that game 1, because he was getting slaughtered that game, made what could have been the game-losing mistake getting picked in the top lane if Darkwings didn't bail them out. So he's the big one for me that really needs to step up in this game 2 for Sentinels.
Now on a also AD carry that notoriously can get punished if you're out of position. You have one mobility spell, but you're still relatively short range outside of your ultimate, so can be tough to play into things like the Aurora, things like the Ambessa already that can try and dive on top of you as an AD carry. They're going to ban away the Nautilus and the Lulu, so an Enchanter plus an engaged support. Meanwhile, DSG will ban out some mid laners. We got Syndra and a Victor taken off the table, and now Sentinels get to pick for themselves. Yeah. Solo lanes are the name of the game for them here, so we'll see what they want to lock in. Currently hovering the Cassiopeia.
They're trying to target ban Darkwings a little bit, because if there would be one criticism on his champion pool, it's that he only plays control mages, even if he plays some of the more unconventional ones. So Cassiopeia ends up being what's locked in with boots. Have to buy boots now in Cassiopeia.
That threw me off. Why do you think they changed that? Did you have any insight from the
Well, yeah, because of the
team?
role quest. They didn't want to just give Cassiopeia like extra stats when the quest was completed, which I think would have been the better choice. You can't wear boots.
Yeah.
As Cassiopeia.
As a snake.
Yeah. Oh,
There's still always the argument that Vel'Koz should also probably not buy boots then, by that logic. But, you know, we don't want to open that can of worms here. It's going to be Wukong locked in with the Rakan. So what this team was lacking was hard engage. Now they got it.
I was just getting a download of stats in my ears, so I couldn't necessarily hear you.
All right. I was trying to pass it off to you, be like, hey, talk about Rakan, but I can talk about Rakan as well.
I know.
Not going to be that early game power that I expected with the Yanara to try and like bully the Lucian and the Nami, but maybe you still can find a cheeky W and to find a pick.
Yeah, it was something about Sajed's CS in the first game being extremely high.
Yeah?
But that's all I could make out.
Okay, but did they also confirm that he is the all-time global leader of rookies with gold in the game?
I mean, I confirmed that when I said it.
I'm just going to confirm that now.
Until it gets
that's just truth in my brain.
And it's absolutely true.
But either way, it's going to be Gwen as the final pick here for Sentinels. So AP solo laners for Impact and Darkwings, and we do know with the Wukong lock-in, it is not M-Bessa jungle, it will be M-Bessa top lane. So Sentinels, they were able to get a counter pick for Impact last time around. It was the kind of like Cassante hold the line against Renekton, but he still got a solo kill.
He did.
Now he gets a proper carry counter pick.
His Gwen was hit or miss last year.
Yeah.
When it became a really big meta pick in the LCK, Team Liquid started first picking it, and then that was coinciding with some other issues with the Team Liquid team, so ended up losing a lot of games on Gwen, but it's something he definitely wants to be able to add to his champion pool for this year.
For this year, eyes will be on Impact. Does he look better than last year? Right now, though, DSG backs against the wall. Need to pick up 2 wins in a row to get their first series win. Meanwhile, Sentinels, the newest org in the LCS, starting off strong with a Game 1 win over their opponents. Game 2 of DSG versus Sentinels starts right now.
And I got the stat.
You got the stat.
I actually like the stat. It's another Sajed-related stat, as we might see a fist fight at level 1.
Yeah, I was saying level 1s are less popular because of how early the waves spawn, but Tisno does get to safety.
And you gotta run back right away. So it's the 5th highest CS in an NA debut game ever. Ever. But listen to who he's behind. This is what I actually find interesting.
I'm gonna guess Wild
this.
Turtle.
Power of Evil, Freeze, Alex Itch, and Kobe from TSM.
Yeah.
4 European imports. So it's actually the most CS in a North American's NA debut game ever.
There we go. We found the loophole.
NA talent, baby.
NA talent. Sajed with a great Game 1. Still was not able to pick up the win, but got the lead over his lane opponent. Now can he do it again? Sentinels currently here with a slight push in that bottom side, so it's looking like the level 1 is going their way. But I want to do some table setting for these compositions as well, Jet, just like we did for game number 1. It was very clear in game 1 that DSG needed to win early game. Sentinels had the scaling. What do you think about game number 2 and the pivots that each team has made?
I mean, both teams are very squishy. We don't have the same type of Cassante, Alistair frontline or like the Kai'Sa one-shot. I'd say the engage is still slightly more in favor of DSG. They have the better trigger pool. Lions is Rakan definitely there, but also just like Aurora Wukong is a combo that 100 Thieves was dominating with last year when River Quid were playing it so much. And then on the side of Sentinels, while they do have some good scaling, like Gwen and Cassio both really pump damage, neither one of them are really bringing that much CC. Vi's a single point and click CC as Calmy is trying to kill Darkwings.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting a massive lead over Darkwings in this early game.
And then Lucianami is also more of like whittling you out. So the snap engage isn't there. Calmy wants the big play, can't get it.
Honestly, respect for attempting, thinking if Darkwings is window shopping, you have a chance. Darkwings, though, trades Flash and will now get the wave in himself. So, you know, again, respect the Calmy for the attempt. Not going to find it, though.
Yeah, they'll both likely just trade TPs to get back to lane. Darkwings is likely okay with that trade. Vi's early gank and Wukong's early gank both fairly threatening, so look for more action in the mid lane now that both mid laners have no flash.
Both of them will TP. I was wondering, will either one choose to not TP? Because with the home guards change, you're able to get in so fast as Rahel actually avoids the grand entrance from Lions. Just steps barely over that circle, and we'll get a good chunk onto Sajed.
Yeah, Hambach thinking about a dive. It's completely on vision, though. Barrier and heal up. This would be difficult to execute, but it looks like Sentinels want it anyway.
They have a big wave, so they will commit to it. It's Rahel getting big damage in onto Sajed, who he was tanking up first. Now Hambach tanking up afterwards, but gets out of range, and Sentinels are fine.
And Darkwings is dead.
In the mid lane, though. First blood is picked up. DSG find the play mid, while looks like Sentinels were not able to find theirs bot.
Well, that's the danger when you show as a jungler, is it lets the other jungler go wherever he wants without any fear of counter gank.
Yeah.
So knowing that mid lane was no flash, he makes the repeat gank. And then not only was it going to be a difficult gank with heal, barrier, and both flashes up for the side of DSG, Hambach's VIQ just gets straight up interrupted by Lions' Recon, so the gank fails miserably. Another good early start here for DSG.
Yeah, solid DSG jungle pathing from Kisno. Last game on the Pantheon, it took him a while to actually get onto the map and make action happen, but this time around on the Wukong, of all things. Typically don't really see Wukong ganks until you're level 6, but like you had highlighted, no flash on the mid lane meant that it was much easier to pull off. Now also gold on Kisno. Let's see what he's able to do with it this time around.
Yeah, another attempt to prove himself. This is really an interesting debut for the LCS because we know he's not going to be the long-term starter once Kryra is able to join the team, but it's definitely a great job to secure a future if you're able to have some big games. And Lions diving over the bubble for a big trade onto Hui, playing pretty aggressive.
And Kisno's just going to go back again. Still no flash on Darkwings. And a second kill on the DSG's jungler.
I mean, I think it's worth asking the question is if he should buy boots to walk away from these ganks a little bit faster on the Cassiopeia.
Now that it's an option, you know?
No, shouldn't have been there. I mean, this was a good gank, once again, by Kisno's Wukong, and it just starts to snowball this lane.
Yeah, and Kisno also waving. I haven't mentioned this yet, but when you look at the Tier 2 players, a lot of them have played with each other at one time or another. Darkwings and Kisno actually were on the same roster last year for Conviction. So Kisno waved to his old teammate saying, yeah, I'll take 2 kills from you. And that means that Call Me also gets a CS lead, but Hambach will get the first Dragon. So even though we've seen multiple kills on the Kisno, objective lead starts off with Sentinels.
Yeah, it makes sense. All the tempo was used by Kisno to gank mid, so Hambach can go take the Dragon, not to mention Vi kills Dragon very fast and very safely with the percent health damage that Vi has, so nicely done there by Hambach, even if his gank was a big miss.
And we see the bot lane CS differential going the complete opposite from last game. Rahel has mounted a sizable lead over Sajed. So even though Sajed and Lions were not, they were able to hold the line from that gank, that dive attempt earlier, they have not been able to equalize the lane state.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, I don't know completely behind the scenes, but from other AD carries that I've worked with in the past, if you have a bad matchup in game 1 and you fall really far down in CS, you need to pick a winning matchup in game 2. Like your ego is on the line right there. So I think that's why they're going Lucian Nami and playing ultra aggressive, pathing down bottom lane. Like it's to their detriment even going for that initial dive, but it's one of those things where, no, we're going to try and put this other bot lane in the dirt after what they did to us in game 1.
Yeah, especially after the rookie is able to get the highest CS ever of a debut rookie. NA players.
Of a North American debut.
Of a North American, yeah, exactly, yeah. Darkwings hits level 6 on the mid lane finally. Call Me does still have a experience advantage slightly right now. Darkwing should catch this soon here after some of these minions. But the big thing that I look at is anytime the Wukong hits level 6, and now Kisno has hit level 6, Wukong has ultimate available, and this is when the Wukong ganks can really start to become lethal. And still technically no flash on Darkwings. It's going to be up maybe about 30 seconds here.
Another thing that I feel like, I didn't watch the first series super closely for this exact thing, but I don't think a jungler has gone top.
Yeah?
It's
just been
the first 14 minutes of any of our 4 games.
Which is counter to what I expected could happen because of how impactful top lane can be if you can get a lead now.
Yeah, but to me, it's about that little Phalite. You just throw one ward down, and you got these big fat walls. It just seems like this kind of ungankable lane, and it ends up being in complete isolation. So Castle and Impact are just having a grand old time fist fighting each other and not worrying at all about where the junglers are.
But Impact is, again, slight lead for himself there, about a wave up. Now that will get pushed in by Castle. But the question on my mind was still, which version of Impact will we get? 2024 MVP or 2025, you know, really rough year overall. And in the debut, I mean, he gets a solo kill in game 1 and now already holding his own with a maybe slight lead here in the top lane.
Yep. Absolutely good tank play from him in that first game. Hard to make more of a difference on Cassandra than getting a solo kill and being a level 20 max item tank.
Kizno will now start up the grubs, and Vi's on the bottom side. So Hambach not in the same neighborhood. We'll be giving this one up.
Buddy, you gotta help out this 80 carry. His ego's on the line. Like he was down in game 1.
Oh, so
we're already 30
5.
CS up. We're gonna put him in the dirt. It's also bad for him to be top lane against the 2-kill Wukong who has ultimate. But they're completely on top of the ward.
Sajed is still level 5. Lions is level 6. Call Me has hovered to help out, and now they're just going to flash engage themselves, trying to lock down Uhi. Call Me will get in there and pick up a 3rd kill for DSG.
Nice job there by Call Me. No vision sweeping by Sentinels when they're going for that dive. I think questionable play to wait that long.
It might be more. Rahel has the flash available, has the barrier available. We'll need to use either one. Lions tried to predict as Rahel says, no, I'm just going to hold my line and doesn't have to use anything. Meanwhile, here comes Hambach. DSG could be in some trouble. The flash hits on the Lions, and Rahel picks up the 1st kill of game 2 for Sentinels.
I mean, even if Sentinels isn't super happy with that play, Rahel's very happy with this play because he's not the one who died. The kill didn't go to anyone in his lane, and now look at this, he's 37 CS, 900 gold up, and it's only going to increase as he's going to shove in this cannon wave and then likely reset to go for a buy with about 13 to 1400 gold.
Sajed very far behind right now in this bottom lane matchup. And that's, yes, you've been hovered a lot from Hambach. That's 2 dive setups, 1 attempt. But either way, not the best start considering how well Sajed was able to play in game number 1. Castle pushes in a wave topside. We'll get 1 plate right there as Impact looks like he's going to have to reset. Does have the TP summoner spell to get back.
Absolutely, and you can see Essence Reaver being completed by Rahel. Meanwhile, the Cull on the other side. So it's no early combat power there for Yunara. And Hambach is going to want to continue to play around bot side, so I'd like the DSG finally has a little bit of vision there to have better defense.
So Impact stayed for another wave. I do want to highlight, though, Rahel, yes, has the first item, but so does Kizno. Wukong Trinity Force Power Spike is pretty big, and I was wondering, do they go for the Dragon? Sentinels have the Power Spike in their bottom laner, but this Wukong does have a lead over Vi. Also, Hambach no ultimate from that earlier play, so DSG will deny the Dragon stacking and get one for themselves. Here is Rahel, big damage on the Lions, who now just goes for the re-engage here. Double charm up onto Huhi and Rahel. The Culling goes out, as well as the Nami ultimate. Bubble lands. Jed cannot follow up on Lions' engage. So DSG do not find the play, and that actually de-leashed the Dragon.
Yep.
It was not secured.
Yep, that was something where Kizno's going to be really sad he left the Dragon there because Rahel has the Essence Reaver, is going to play super aggressive, but unless Kizno is in gank position when he goes in, he's just too far away to be able to make an approach. They didn't even get a summoner spell out of Rahel's Lucian. So yes, they get the Dragon. I think they were always going to get the Dragon with that Trinity Force Wukong. And now Hambach,
so
our first top gank ever.
Yeah, we have a TP coming in as well. The Needlework was already used from Impact. He does not have the ultimate available as the Public Execution will miss. That's a flash from Castle. Teleport coming in as well from Darkwings. It's going to be underneath the turret, but he is fine, okay? There was a lot that just went down there.
They're just all too tanky. This is why you don't go top lane. You're never going to get the kill. They missed everything on everyone.
Whew, that was a fun one right there. Yeah.
Nobody's punished.
But Castle does have TP, and we find a pick in the jungle! Hambach caught out as Kizno with his mid laner will find a kill.
Yeah, nice pick there by Kizno, making the most after everyone's trying to retreat from that top play.
Castle says, get out of here. Ooh, Kizno has to flash away from Darkwings, though. Petrifying Gaze still available. Darkwings is very strong with that ultimate available, and Rod of Ages completed, but not strong enough. He wants to catch his mid wave, and that will be a blue buff stolen by Kizno. And now Call Me. Ooh. Yeah?
I faked myself out a little bit. I'm like, did they stop Cassio from being able to buy boots? Because I feel like he should really be buying them soon.
Well, he's got to get the Rod of Ages stacking. He's got to get the tier
stacking. Did they change it in 26.2 and I just didn't read it? I don't think they did.
I would have missed that as well. I'm assuming that we will get that eventually.
It's time for boots, Darkwings.
No, okay, but if... now the real concern is, does Darkwings know? Because I've heard so many stories of players not reading the patch notes.
There's no way.
Surely there's no way. Golden Glue would have told him. Surely.
Yeah. You keep casting. I'm going to double check the patch notes.
All right. I'll keep taking a look at what's happening on the map right now. We'll have the Herald in about 2 minutes' time. So Sentinels still hold a bit of a current map lead just by rotating a little faster, but they do not have the gold lead anymore. DSG have managed to equalize that, with gold being on their jungler and mid laner. Meanwhile, for Sentinels, it's isolated more on their bot side. Rahel picked up that 1 kill. So DSG, considering it's 4-1 in kills, don't actually have that big of a lead over their opponent. Just being, I guess, ahead in the grubs department right there. Did I buy you enough time, Jet? Were you able to take a look?
I'm like so sure that she can buy boots.
Let's pull the audience. Audience, say yay if you think Cass can buy boots. That's a resound.
Yeah, she can definitely buy boots. Why doesn't he have boots?
Say yay if you think Darkwings is going to buy boots this game. That was less yays.
No confidence. He was the player of the game last game. He should know boots. He's going to buy him now.
I have faith in
He's going to put an end to this. He's got 800 gold.
Yeah.
He's about to buy boots.
Okay, back in.
Yeah.
Let's see it.
No, he's staying for another wave.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
This is really delaying things. He's just so slow.
Yeah. We're waiting for it. Taking some damage from Call Me right there. And it's tough to lane against the Aurora at this point, who has Malignance completed, plus upgraded boots. So Call Me definitely picking those ones up.
Yeah, you can definitely buy boots. Yeah, guaranteed. Someone in the stands just said,
I really hope the mic picked that up. Although Cass doesn't have toes.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get into this topic, actually. Let's get off that real fast. Sentinels pushing in another wave here in the mid lane. Kizno ready for a potential play. Could use a playful trickster over the wall. Has a Cyclone. Not going to go for it. I'm just going to ignore whatever they're shouting now, because I'm assuming it's nothing worth sharing on broadcast. Engage from Lions now onto Rahel. But Kizno wasn't ready on a bubble from Hui to keep him alive, but in comes Call Me. Rahel still alive.
Wow.
Rahel holds the line. Hambach with the kill and the punish.
That's crazy. The angle was actually so good for DSG, but Sentinels is able to outplay it. The biggest thing is the bubble onto the Wukong.
That was incredible.
Before he'd be able to engage on her health. That would have been enough damage on top of the Aurora damage to get the kill, but it just makes Rahel
he still has it though!
He's all now.
Rahel stuck around for another wave and is punished. Kizno with a blast cone. Playful trickster gets in range to Cyclone.
He built boots.
He built boots!
I'm sorry, I didn't respect your game. You definitely read the patch notes.
And you should feel ashamed, audience members who didn't believe in him. There we go. Tier 2 picked up. Sentinels, they were able to hold the line for Rahel for a brief moment, but him dying there is tough. It gives Sajet a window here to get some more CS. Let's get another look at that play. I believe this was the first engage.
Yeah, I mean, Dash is in lines, is ready to absolutely snap engage him, so he's completely trying to punish Rahel, who's playing super aggressive, but that bubble is ultimately what saves the life of Rahel. He then gets the kill back onto Call Me, but he stuck around and got killed the second time around.
I think Golden Glue's going to have a little less hair by the end of this series. That might have been the reaction to
this play after he'd survived it, where good night Lucian. Still very far ahead, about 600 gold ahead of his counterpart. And they're going to continue to give gold into this Lucian. This should be first turf for him.
Yeah. The Herald will charge in. Rahel will pick that up, get another wave here. And I understand moments like that as an 80 carry, you think you have your support near enough, but it was such a fast play. But can Castle survive this play? Actually goes for the wave, 1v1's Impact, has his own wave behind him. Impact's gonna try and snip, clear this one out. We have a Nami coming up as well. TP could cover from Call Me, but he's 1v1ing Darkwing's bot side with Kizno. Ooh. We got 2 dives happening at the same time. The Nami will again, public execution misses from Castle. He's taking too much damage, but he's got the Castle Lions! DSG support will save the life of the top laner. Body blocks, hot blocks, Vault Breaker. Sentinels cannot kill the Mbessa.
I mean, both sides that were defending the dive played it very well. Darkwings, even though it looked like he was completely out of cooldowns, had a perfect flash on the Wukong E to make it so he couldn't get followed up by the Wukong R. And then Castle right there is just able to do Eclipse Mbessa things where the shields just keep coming. And I'd say Lions as well, just body blocking the Vi-Q throughout the end of it. Very well played there on both sides.
Yeah, sometimes even if you don't have CC, you can just stand between the enemy jungler and your top laner. Hotbot getting some damage on the Kizno, but in comes the Cyclone. Call Me's there, they gotta kill this fast. TP answer, Darkwings is there, trying to get damage on the Call Me as Rahel and Hui are even nearby. But Call Me will make it to safety for now. Sentinels, do they want to put backsplash from Impact? Not gonna find it. Call Me's out of there.
What What a great escape right there. Impact, burning flash, and teleport, and coming away with absolutely nothing. The overall map pressure still looked like it was in the favor of Sentinels, but they expended so much on that play, and now DSG are the first ones back on the map, so Calmy able to get a free wave top, and Sajet is just pushing mid lane, getting closer and closer to that Lucian's power.
Ooh, another close game, Jab. Game number 1, DSG.
LCS, baby.
Came in with a lead. Sentinels were able to equalize it. It was a banger. And this time around, Sentinels, they still have the turret lead, but the gold and the objectives in favor of DSG. Gold's about even, but they have the grubs and now 1 extra dragon on top of it. So, I mean, we kind of came in. It was a rivalry for some of the players, maybe, because 3/5 of the roster went over to DSG, but or rather went over to Sentinels. I didn't think it was going to be a close match, though, as now another play from DSG on the Dark Wings. Call me getting fed. 3-1-2 on the Aurora.
They have better trigger pull on the side of DSG. They have more hard engage, and also this game they're playing well together in terms of creating numbers advantages, so they can just kind of go all in on these plays, dump all their cooldowns, and secure kills, and that's the 3rd time they've been able to punish Dark Wings this game.
Calmy's having a fantastic performance on this Aurora. Kizno's having a fantastic performance on the Wukong. Castle's dancing on him.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Kizno, man. Coming in, short-term substitution right here. Had a pretty solid early game on the Pantheon. There's going to be a lot of things he regrets about that first game, but it was more the team not being able to close it. Helped get his AD carry super fed, and here, back-to-back ganks in mid lane, gives him the 2 kills. Good objective control. Really playing well on Wukong.
3-0-2, incredible performance. And also, we haven't talked too much about Calmy, so I just want to give some information for anybody might not be as aware of a newer player coming into the LCS. Joining us from the TCL, where he was playing most recently for a team called Misa, with Closer, actually, jungler that should be known to North American audiences. Before that, he was in the Nongshim pipeline over in LCK. So he's definitely got experience under his belt, and he is showing that experience right now with a big lead in the mid lane, but Darkwing's still trying his best to find something on the castle there.
Yeah, and even though Dark Wings, wow, look at that road he's taken. Another KT rollster.
Yeah, there's so many. We're just collecting them at this point. There's actually a really funny web between Castle, Calmy, Hambach, and Rahel. If we have more downtime, maybe I'll have a chance to kind of explain that. But there was one tournament where Rahel basically just smashed all of them. So, yeah, you know.
Okay.
Shout out Leaguepedia. You can just find random facts like that on there.
Called the LCS Lock-In Tournament, but we'll see. We'll see if he's able to do it. Hasn't been smashing so far this series, that's for sure. But really trying his best here in Game 2. 220 CS, a lot of resources going towards him. Going to be hitting Infinity Edge very soon. Got a ton of power on this Electrocute Lucian, which is, again, more lane-focused. Really wanted to win this lane in a big way, and the map pressure starting to move back towards Sentinels, and it's because of this Lucian Nami that's in the mid lane. DSG can't step up on that wave, so they always get mid push first, and then they can move to sides.
Castle fancies himself a 1v1, has a level up over Dark Wings. Petrifying Gaze available. He's going to have to play it correctly, though. Throws out his dodge!
Wow.
Castle with the sidestep and the solo kill.
Really nice movement there from Castle. Merktread's Hexdrinker as well just makes it so that Cassio damage doesn't even seem like it's happening after the normal Ambessa shields and the Eclipse, so Castle just completely wrecks Dark Wings here.
It was a double AP solo lane draft from Sentinel, so you know whichever one you're going to be up against in lane, MR will be high value.
Yeah.
Love this from Castle.
Until Lucian arrives. So it's really going to be on Lucian to try and carry this game, because you can see, like, Castle's going to win both side lanes.
Yeah.
Makes the game super interesting that Sentinels is always getting pushed mid, but then Castle kind of beats everyone inside, at least at this stage in the game.
Castle having a great performance here in Game 2. 1-0-1 with a bit of a lead as Rahel the focus, but not going to go down. Teleport in from Dark Wings right now. He doesn't have the team fully behind him, so now Sentinels have to walk up, and they will push DSG back. Dark Wings, big damage. He's got home guards there, plus the boots finish, but not fast enough. DSG will be able to back off as, ooh, that looks like another TP.
Yeah, Drake's up in 10 seconds, so they're trying to get everybody here. Rahel's going to go for a fight mid.
Yeah, I mean, this Colin's big. Has to flash away. Kizno trying to get the safety, but Rahel's coming in. The walls are closing in. Hambach locking Kizno down for long enough. And that is a kill picked up. It's traded back. Jungler for jungler as Lions now trying to keep Castle alive. Another sidestep with the Petrifying Gaze. Darkwings just can't land them. Calmy's now joined in on the fight. The solo laners for DSG are holding the line. Double kill to Rahel. He just cannot go down. Sentinel's AD carry trying his best for both teams.
These fights are crazy, Kangas. They go all in mid lane as Dragon's about to spawn in 10 seconds. So they see the TP channeling bot lane and say, our time is now, we're gonna fight. And they just send it all the way on to Wukong. You can see Rahel zoning off Lions, goes pretty deep on the middle of the map here, but then if Castle lands that first Ambessa ult on a Darkwings, I think it's a different story.
Yeah.
He's a little slow on this approach, so they take their time killing him. Another perfect pixel dodge by Castle there on the Cassio ultimate. He lasts a long time, and then this is where the fight gets extremely crazy. Yunara on the backside falls to Rahel, just getting a couple of crits. And then at the very end here, Rahel rejoins it. And this is everyone's face watching this fight.
Oh,
so I can't believe what's happening.
But shout out to Rahel. You were the first one to point it out when you're a pro 80 carry and you get smashed by a rookie like that. You got a chip on your shoulder. 3-1-2, he played that fight beautifully with a sliver of a health bar, sticking around for much longer than I would have expected. But it was basically a wash for both teams. The gold is still about where it was. DSG have a lead. They have 3 dragons now, plus the grub, so they are still in an advantaged position. Sentinels will get their 4th turret, though. That's really the only metric that they're ahead in. Maybe they're ahead in finding picks. Now Lions gets safety. Yeah.
Dragon going over to DSG in the aftermath of that fight is pretty big because it puts them on soul point. The Infinity Edge is also really big for Rahel because at this point now, if he gets a little bit of Nami speed and gets a quick Lucian combo off on pretty much anyone, now he's starting to threaten lethal damage.
Yeah.
So he's got to play extremely well, but he's down both Flash and Barrier, so it's a push and pull. If he does dash forward at this point, Lions would be able to get him because he can't answer with Flash. So once his Flash comes back up, it'll be interesting to see if he's still far enough ahead to play extremely aggressively.
I imagine he will have that Flash by the time Dragon is up. We have 4 minutes. Yeah, he should have that Flash in no time. So DSG, I mean, if they can force the issue, go for the Baron buff right now. Sentinels, they don't have their Gwen with them. TP could come up. And Castle's pushing another wave here mid. Sentinels will try and catch that one, but it's still focused on the Baron. Castle just trying to keep Rahel away from the fight. Call me as well! Finds the pop on a Hui. Castle getting kited by Rahel, who will stay alive. The Lucian just won't go down. Hambach throws his life away. Kisno will be traded. It's jungler for jungler, support for top. Sentinels coming out a little ahead, but with Rahel down a health bar, they have to back off.
Jeez, that was a level 17 Ambessa trying to carry the game there, but he had a Maw and Mercury Treads against a 3-item Lucian, so he ends up barely losing that duel. And then I think at the very end, Kisno saw it was 4v3, probably wanted to keep fighting, but I think could have just kept clicking backwards to give them the 2-for-1. Instead, it ends up being a trade in the favor of Sentinels. So, I mean, Castle sees his angles, thinks he's unstoppable at this stage in the game, and does a good job keeping Rahel, Impact, and Hui pretty much out of the fight. Gives him time. This is where you'd want DSG to maybe walk away or at least make Sentinels keep chasing because Rahel was so low, but it ends up just giving Rahel a little bit of extra gold now, working towards that 4th full item.
Close to finishing that one here as he has a 1.7k gold lead over Sajed. The Baron was the bait there from DSG. Oh, now they might just be able to capitalize again. Still no Flash on Rahel, and that's a little more damage from Call Me than we saw from Castle. Absolutely bursted down. Call Me putting the game on his shoulders.
Storm Surge has procced, and it was completely one-shot Rahel, who's going full damage, no MR, and that was through Barrier from the looks of it as well. So massive burst. Might turn into a Baron start once again here by DSG.
Rahel's all the gold right now, so they can try and contest. They will TP in. They have Gwen going into the mid lane. DSG's answering on the top side here. They're about half health. That's a flash dodge for Darkwings, but everyone's still trying to pile on. But Impact trying to be the front line now. Keep everybody away from the Cassiopeia. Sentinels playing this fight beautifully, keeping Darkwings alive. Petrifying Gaze out of 2. Hambach back on the Kisno, dodges away from the Cyclone. So DSG just not fighting their engagement, but they got the knock on the Darkwings. Lions found the Cassiopeia. Hambach did not have the snake behind him, so he will die. And DSG find themselves a team fight win.
2 kills, very low. Don't know if they're going to start Baron again because Rahel is now alive. You could tell the plan was very clearly by DSG. Make them come in and let's win the fight, but they couldn't quite get the right angle. I think it took them a little longer than they wanted to kill Darkweeds and Hambach. Still a good play, but could have been better. Watching it one more time, they didn't really wait for Sentinels to get super close to the Baron, so the engage didn't end up being clean. At this stage, it actually looked a little questionable. Then you remembered one team has an AD carry and the other AD carry is in Fountain, so DSG is able to turn this around. At the very end of it, Darkwings falls for the 6th time this game, and Hambach falls as well.
Good start of the fight for Sentinels. If they just played around Darkwings, maybe they find something else, but it was a 5v4. That was going to be a tough play anyway, but it did stop the Baron yet again. DSG have now used that as a magnet twice, one time with a number advantage. And we see, even though Darkwings went down, he did so much damage at DSG, we're not able to stick around and go for the objective afterwards. Now Sentinels are actually the team looking at it.
I mean, there are all ultimates up except for Wukong ultimate, which will be up in 8 seconds. Sentinels in a dangerous spot.
Castle has the ultimate available. Flash from Rahel, but it goes Colby shut down. Rahel does not get popped this time. Castle can't find him. He's looking to get onto the Lucian. He takes the blast code away. Rahel doesn't have the damage anymore. And now DSG can clean up the rest of the members. The Lucian flew out of the fight, but he flies back in. Double kill to the Wukong, but Rahel is still alive. If he can kite back, maybe he can find the miracle. But Kizno, the emergency sub with the triple kill and the ace.
7-kill Wukong, and this is a replay of one of the Baron fights. We're watching it. It's the one we just saw, and it's just an incredibly risky Baron by Sentinels. They don't have flank vision. Baron has 20,000 health, so they can't burst it quickly, and Hui just instantly gets deleted. Rahel on the outside here gets blasted away by the super blast cone and tries his best to carry this fight from the back end, has a nice sidestep, but ultimately it's a Wukong with the fully stacked passive, so he's going to get the chase down, and I believe this is Chemsoul now in the aftermath of this fight, which is going to make it even more difficult for Sentinels to win.
And that was Kizno on your screen right there, chuckling to himself, an emergency substitute. It was supposed to be Kryra. They couldn't get him in time, so Sajed said, I know a guy. And what a showing from Kizno so far. He had a decent game 1, but an incredible game 2 here on the Wukong.
So let's take stock here. Really fed Wukong, extremely fed Aurora, and then very burstable carries. Low mobility Cassiopeia, who's been kept down this whole game, and a complete glass cannon on the Lucian. So I think DSG, if they can get an engage onto Rahel, the game is over.
Rahel's got to be very careful right now. He's building some lifesteal, so he can, if he gets chunked, try and heal back up, but it's not poke he's got to deal with, it's burst, and here comes the burst. The ultimate from Mbessa misses. Calmy can't get the damage. Rahel is alive. Lions goes in, but where's the follow-up? Rahel's knocked up, but there's just no damage behind it. And now that's GA from Kizno. Impact buying a lot of space for Sentinels to try and stop the Wukong. He'll trade his life for the support. Shut down to Impact. Kizno finds something for his trouble.
This is a really good series.
Yeah.
These fights are just absolutely non-stop, and they're all about the outplay. So Rahel is able to avoid this version of the full send, where it didn't even look like Calmy landed anything. It almost like he didn't take damage.
Yeah.
He also early barriered, so... And the Mikhails also was used at some point in this fight from Hui, so Rahel he played that beautifully.
Castle also has not been able to land these public executions onto Lucian. It's tough. Lucian with that E ability, Relentless Pursuit, can get you out of danger, and it's a decent long cast time as Hambach will see Castle.
Baron's still alive, so Sentinels are just redeploying, and they're going to try and take this 5v4.
Castle's getting chased away, and he will make it back to safety, but it has been a battle in the top river. So much action happening here, and no one's been able to get a big enough lead from it to actually execute on the Purple Worm, despite DSG having that Dragon Soul. 4 minutes until Elder. I expect even more action around this top half, so it comes down to vision. There's a lot for DSG.
And something we haven't talked about at all that I'm just noticing now is Impact is actually really fed. Somehow Castle's 2,000 gold down. Dusk at Dawn is probably the most broken item in the game currently. Gwen's a great user of it, and on 3.5 items, if they don't catch Impact as well as Rahel, then they could still be in for a lot of pain.
And we saw what he was able to do. Ooh, bubble over the wall into Lions. He's built relatively tanky, though, so they want to all commit into it. And now the public execution does land. They got Rahel. The AD carries down. Calmy's in some trouble. Impact is getting bursted. Double kill the Castle. Shut down for the triple as Hambach's got to retrieve. retreat. Darkwings flashes away. DSG trade their mid laner for 3.
Interesting decision. They might have had a chance to run down mid lane and get a lot, but I think Baron is the correct call here with Soul already acquired. This is going to be their 3rd Baron of the series.
Yep.
We'll see if it can lead to their first win.
This is a much later Baron last time around. By this point in game 1, they had 2. Now it's their first one because of how much Sentinels has made them work for it. But with a 4,000 gold lead and team fights like this, DSG might just be able to pull it off.
Yeah. Right there, able to land it on Rahel. And that's when everyone flies in. This time, Lions combo, so there's no way of dodging. You can see Calmy took a bunch of damage from Impact right afterwards, but then everyone's able to get close enough to just burst down Impact's Gwen as well and finish off the fight.
And that's flashes out from Hambach, flashes out from Darkwings. So even around this Elder Dragon fight, you won't have flash on your big engage, you won't have flash on your low mobility AP Mage mid laner. Sentinel's job is only going to get harder here as DSG will use this Baron to push in some waves. Big damage there on the turret as Castle will push into this bottom side. Sentinels have 5 members grouped though. Maybe they look for a snap engage here. DSG will back off as they only have the cannon minion.
I mean, Sajet is really not behind anymore at this stage in the game. You can see 4 full items working on his 5th. That's
Top lane
the
as
same
well.
as Rahel.
With the triple kill to Castle, you were highlighting it was
back.
like a 2K gold lead, but now Castle actually has the lead over Impact, but he is slightly isolated. In comes Impact, in comes Hambach. No flash on the Vi. He's got to chase him down. Impact's looking for the slow. Castle has a lot of magic resist, and in comes Lion to back him up. Impact has to flash to safety as Nami ult will cover the retreat. DSG have multiple members, but Sentinels will get out. They were looking for a pick, and it shows now how much stronger Castle is. Impact can no longer just hard win that 1v1.
Definitely not. 1 minute until the Elder fight. We're going to have another one. 2 Elder fights in 2 games between, I guess, I don't want to call Sentinels old DSG because Sentinels is a new team.
They are a new team.
But that's how DSG sees it.
And the CEO is watching right now, so I would advise against that as well.
They're old Phoenix 1.
Ah, true.
Yeah, they got pieces. They got pieces of a lot of old teams for a new team. But just looking at this game, I wonder if they can clutch it up once again. Last game, they were able to win through experience and late game team fighting. It looks like they're in a bigger deficit now as DSG is just trying to take control of the jungle here and set up for Elder.
And 2 of the bigger differences from last game to this game. Darkwings not having a pop-off performance on the cast compared to the Azir, and Huhi is not on this primary engage support that can really find that play. Both of those things were in Sentinel's favor last time around. Now DSG don't have to worry about a Huhi flank. They don't have to worry about Darkwings, on this really, kind of like quasi-engage mid laner here that can find his own plays. Petrifying Gaze is a more defensive tool. So, Dragon, though, coming up in 5 seconds. That's going to be the big fight.
All right, Death Dance completed for the Ambessa. Still sitting on a few components for Yunara, but really just look to see who they can one-shot at the start of the fight. They're going for Hambach.
Yeah, he's got the Guardian Angel, but Calmy sees Huhi and just tries to pop the Nami. Not enough damage. In comes the teleport. Castle find a lot of space. Darkwings misses the Petrifying Gaze again, and Calmy lives! Almost burning down. Rahel's trying to get the damage. Impact needs to be the hero for Sentinels, but a double kill to Sajed. Rahel just can't get in range. The flash, the W, he finds it! Rahel will get 1, but that's 1 for 4. DSG are gonna make the march through mid lane.
At what cost? They don't even need the Elder. Rahel would have to 1v4. It looks like DSG is gonna send us to a game 3.
I mean, he's got to look for some miracle here. Get onto the wave. He dodges Lions Engage again, but there's just too many members. The ace for Kisno, and what a debut for a young roster. They have the wave. They have the death timers. DSG have won game number 2. They have equalized the series, and Riot Games Arena, you're in for a treat. We got a game 3.
45 kills in an absolute banger. The 10-kill Wukong as well. Yeah, DSG just did it better.
Yeah, DSG, and it was a different way they did it better. So in game 1, it was Sajed that was the main character. He was the hero with all the gold. This time, Calmy had a breakout performance in the mid lane, showing the Aurora and what that's able to do. Meanwhile, Darkwings, I mean, we went into the game thinking, yeah, they had a lot of mid lane bans. The Azir was already picked. What else does Darkwings have? And the Cassiopeia did not impress. So I think some more eyes will now be on Darkwings to see what else is he capable of and what other champions. Because we know he's good on the Azir. Now, what else is he able to play play. I don't think Teemo, sorry to the honest man, but that is a great drawing, though. Incredible.
Absolutely incredible drawing, especially if they did that today after they got here. I will say, I think that Sentinels will just pick Darkwing's champion earlier this game because the Victor and the Syndra bans didn't come through until the 4-5. So I think just making sure that he gets, preferably even just Victor in this draft, would give them a nice scaling option later in the game.
And only Orianna's been banned. They banned the Ryze on their side, but we see here that the mid lane pool is much bigger. Be the bird. I don't get that reference.
Maybe.
Is that Anivia?
Sure. Why not?
Yes, Anivia. Okay, cool.
That's another Darkwing's champion.
That is?
So you never know.
Be the bird. Yeah, live up to the name. The wings. Bring them all out. Can we get a third bird champion for Darkwings now? For the best of 5s, of course.
Who are all the bird champions?
Well, no, I'm saying design team. We need to, I think, make a new one. Oh, wait, we are here. Yeah. So Zaya, Rakan. There's a couple.
Yeah. Do you consider Azira bird?
Yes.
Okay. So that's already enough bird champions.
There we go. Okay. We fixed it.
Okay,
they haven't logged in a mid laner for him yet, though. It was J4 first pick. Sion and Xinjia were the answers for DSG.
Wow, taking the Sion away from Impact. Also, I'm a little shocked that Jarvan is up this late in the series. He's such high prio, super early in the series that I've been watching. So Hambach going to have a good performance. He's really underwhelmed expectations. Aside from his first gank on Kiana. That was great.
Yeah.
Since then, could see better.
And we got the Aphelios to pair behind the J4. Also, shout out, we have a resident fan, LCS super fan, who always brings the J4 sign with him. His license plate has the #1 most steals across the world, or maybe top 3, I don't remember, in the world. He's saying #1. He's saying #1. One day we'll interview him. We'll hear his story live. But for now, I'm just going to tell people that we got a really cool fan that always comes.
Jarvan the 4th license plate to watch Jarvan the 4th. And as expected, Victor just picked for Darkwings. So
you would call it?
I think it's comfort choices across the board here. They blind picked the Aphelios for Rahel. I mentioned last year his Aphelios Jinx were the things that he found the most success on, even if they weren't super meta. So Sentinels is going late game here with those first 3 picks.
Meanwhile, Calmy, we saw what the Aurora could do. Akali, similar kind of high execution threshold mid laner. You can find really, really big highlight plays. And potentially was just warming up to get to this point here into the Victor low mobility mage that, yes, can get some shielding, can slow you down a little bit, but Akali, if you're able to outplay, can still give Victor a lot of problems. Now it's about the bot lane, DSG banning away things like the Lulu, the Thresh. Interesting to see the Thresh pop up here.
Yeah, it's because it's a great pair with Aphelios. So gives him a little bit of extra mobility, and then Aphelios Thresh is a very strong 2v2 lane. So they're just trying to eliminate the best 2 enchanters with the Aphelios so far.
We actually saw a double pentakill Aphelios earlier today. Now that I remember, I think that was with the Thresh support. Shout out LEC. They had a double pentakill going.
It takes a special type of skill to run into Aphelios twice in a row to get pentakilled.
200 years times 2, 400 years. 400 years were experienced in that moment. Bard, though, has been left up, and that is locked in for Lions.
Yeah, and I love Bard against Victor Aphelios, especially with Thresh banned. So Lions could land some huge Bard ultimates, and it's going to be just really difficult for the Victor and Aphelios to deal with that throughout the game.
But if you get enough lockdown, Bard sometimes can be a little squishier. Nautilus can be a tough matchup for him. Rel also will provide more primary engage, because currently it's just that J4 as the big engage tool. They will pair that with the Rel now. Less defensive tool for Aphelios. You can still, help peel for Aphelios in bad situations, but in general, I see Rel more so as like, let's go in, let's start this
for
fight.
Sure. It's absolutely a hard engage champion, so the peel isn't necessarily there for Rahel. I do really like what DSG has done in their 4-5 bans in both games. I think they got huge value pushing Darkwings to Cassiopeia in game 1. Impact pulling out the pocket Mordekaiser.
Which version of Impact? Which version of Impact are we gonna get, Jet?
Yeah, Impact, Mordekaiser versus Sion. What's interesting here is, at least historically, little known fact about Impact, he really cared about the opponent's support champion when he'd pick Mordekaiser as well. He loved it into Nautilus specifically. Because it would just eliminate his ability to engage, because you just eat the Nautilus right away and then solo him as Mordekaiser. I don't really feel like there's a champ in this game that he'll be able to ult and easily kill. So it's not as nice of an angle as he usually finds, but I think he just wants it into the Scion.
I guess maybe you could say the Akali, but that's assuming she doesn't have the smoke screen up, so that would be a great tool to kind of buy time in that ult. But we'll see how Impact wants to pilot that one. It could just be about that 1v1. I'm looking at the rest of the map thinking they have great engage, but low mobility. AD carry and low mobility mid lane. Bard loves to find these low mobility champions to snipe with long range ults, follow up with, you know, the magical journeys and the cosmic bindings, and you have an Akali following you up on that with the Sivir speed boost. So I'm really liking blue side draft so far here. I think red side's going to come down much more to execution as the coaches go. Give one final fist bump of the day. Win or lose, somebody's got to take it. Disguised Sentinels tied 1-1 in their debuts for LCS in 2026.
I understand now that you're saying you like blue side draft is in the team that is playing blue side.
Yes.
But it's so hard for me to disconnect my brain from the team that had first pick. So that's just going to take a lot of getting used to, this first selection.
I'm happy with us, though. Neither of us made any mistakes with that in the first 2 games, and I'm going to say that we didn't make a mistake there either. So, pat ourselves on the back here. A win means the series goes your way to start off LCS. Sentinels versus DSG on the Rift for Game 3.
Quick rush for brush control in the bottom lane. Another early ward by DSG up towards where Hambach is going to be starting. They want early scouting on the Jarvan to try and make it so he doesn't get any cheesy ganks off. And I mean, let's look at what Sentinels is supposed to do in this game. They need to scale with the Aphelios and the Victor, but I think more importantly, they need to win some lanes early on so that they don't fall far behind. I mean, DSG has kind of ran the early game in both the first and the second game, so I wonder if we're going to see a little bit more aggression out of Rahel Huhi with this Aphelios and Rel.
Yeah, last game they were able to get the CS advantage on Lucian, but the dives didn't really work out for them, so we'll see if this time around they can actually execute a bunch of kills down there. But the early game, you know, it's about even in terms of health bar trades. There was something really cool. As a sport man, I love watching just pros like Huhi play laning phase, using the Rel W to get that shield to walk in, push Lions out of that brush, and now he's using it to great effect just to keep that shield up anytime he's getting traded on.
Yeah, and Sentinels, a little bit of quick history. There's a
They hit level 2 early. Flash forward onto Lions. Not going to find the kill.
They got the heal out of Lions for sure. But as you can see, Sentinels, crazy that they were originally Phoenix 1 for those that were watching that long ago.
Shout out Mike Young.
Yeah, longest absence from the league before returning. That's 8 years, 5 months.
I don't even know which
interesting record.
That's a great stat.
Just wait for Velocity to come back and shatter it.
Oh, yeah.
13.5-year hiatus.
What about Coast? Team Coast back in here.
It'll also be a long one.
But yeah, shout out Sentinels. We're Phoenix 1. Again, they've been fantastic so far. Great content. And they are co-streaming as well. If you didn't hear earlier, the CEO with Double Lift and Tarek are actually watching along with us. So they watched 1 game win, 1 game loss. Maybe they can cheer on the team to a victory here today. As the early reset came in from Rahel and Huhi, getting that coal for the Aphelios.
Yeah, pretty important to win any of these games in Swiss. The way this format works is it's just a best of 3 Swiss that started with a random draw. So the winner of this series win counts for exactly as much as the winner of the C9 TL series.
Yeah.
They're both just going to be the 1-0 teams, so they'll go to the upper bracket essentially versus the lower bracket.
No way to tell which team's better between you know, C9 or the winner of this.
Everyone started
They're
from
gonna
the
be
same
tied.
seed.
Yeah.
They just both be 1-0.
It's going to be incredible. As yeah, low action early game here, despite the fact that we have the J4 and the Xin Zhao. Both of these junglers, I'm known to see, have action in the early game. Go for these early ganks. As the Xin Zhao, oh, actually, Lions does spot out Hambach right there. And we have a flank from Kizno. He's coming all the way around. Hambach will commit to the engage onto Lions, who is flashless, healless, rooted in place. Rahel does not quite have the damage. Kizno still hanging out on the side right now, looking for the flank onto Rahel. Huhi and Hambach are split off. The wave is pushing them away, so Rahel is left out to dry. Gift the kill to Sajed. First blood to DSG.
And that could not have gone any better for DSG. The struggle continues for Hambach in these early games. I feel like similar to game 2, highly telegraphed ganks. He's just sitting around, he's warded, he gets spotted out by the Bard, and then they still go for it. So it just gives so much time for Kizno to move around, and then when the gank doesn't work, it just means that Sentinels is so overextended, and then great discipline as well to save the kill for the Sivir.
Yep, I understand the idea. They got Lion so low, he's out of summoner spells, but execution just wasn't there, and Kizno was prepared for it, had the flank angle, and now Sajed with the BF sword first back. We saw Rahel go for the early back with the call. I'd say there's a slight stats differential in the AD carry department right now.
Yeah, they might be able to get some push now with the Sivir,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting juxtaposition because Rahel hadn't really been going call. Sajed has been going call in the first 2 games. Sivir, a great call champion. At the same time, he's probably going to get like 400 CS this game, so he could still buy it later. And the BF sword is going to give him a lot of early power here with Sivir.
But top lane is actually going fairly well for Impact. He's getting the shove onto Castle, getting that wave under turret repeatedly here because of how much action the junglers have put towards the bottom side. And this is a pick that expecting to win this lane, as only about evened it out, though, as they both will go for their first resets and TP. Mid lane as well, about even. It's all about that bottom side currently, where there's the slight advantage for the side of DSG. Dragon's up as well, and Sivir notorious for having wave clear, wave push. I wouldn't necessarily say the same for Akali, though, so I'm curious which jungler is going to feel more confident to go for that dragon based on the wave positions.
Yeah, I mean, once Akali's 6, as long as Akali can get there before the dragon's dead, can still have a large impact on that fight. And they are just fighting so much around this bottom lane. I think it's... I mean, this is just the biggest surprise of this DSG series for me is Sajed and Lions have been the same or bested Rahel and Huhi, which a complete rookie. Lions did not have high stock after his poor season with Lion. A lot of people were like, why would they pick up Lions? But
right.
He's very experienced. He's working very well with this rookie. And the whole game is being played through this bottom lane now, especially now that Sivir's 1-0. So much of the win condition of Sentinels is actually on Aphelios, so trying to keep Rahel out of the game.
And they still have Kizno down here. They saw that the J4 left, so when it becomes lightning, will miss. Kizno cannot commit to the play. Rahel actually kind of tough to gank. The move speed buff can make it tricky to land those skill shots, but now Hambach sees a top lane that's under half health. Not going to commit to it, though. Impact had used the Shadow Realm earlier, so Castle, that's where a lot of his health bar went, and he will just wisely back off.
Yep, looking for some fruit in the river. Going to be able to gobble that up as Kizno freely takes this Drake through mid and bot control. I'm a little impressed here by Calmy's ability to have the shove on the Victor. I think part of that is just because there was so much river control, and Darkwings probably had to respect the gank of Kizno's Xin Zhao, but this is... I mean, it's a pleasant surprise that DSG is competitive. I was really worried. I need to be just completely honest. I was really worried after how the beginning of last year went for DSG. It took them half a year to kind of find a formula that worked with Darkwings and Rahel. Then they lost them right away. I was like, oh man, is it just going to be this like, oh, it's another DSG game, let's watch them get slammed? Clearly not.
Yeah.
Like, Sajed has been great. Kizno's also really good.
For an emergency sub, we need to keep hammering that home. It was meant to be Kryra. Visa issues mean that Kryra can't compete yet. We're hoping that he's able to make it in soon. But, I mean, this is a great substitute to start off. I think Kizno was a little slow in game number 1, if we're being honest, on Pantheon, but since then has really picked it up.
Yeah, but just from like an entertainment standpoint, if your worst team in the league is giving you matchups like this, you're going to have a lot of really entertaining games.
True.
So I'm just personally very excited that we have not only a cool best-of-3 format, but also competitive teams.
I did also note that you took the Sentinels jersey off. The camera hasn't come back to us, but he's not currently wearing it. So does that have anything to do with last game?
I took it off after game 1. Mr. Kangas.
You did.
Thanks
you
for calling me out, though. It was a bit.
It's okay. The cardigan looks great.
It's the Darkwings jersey. I'll bring it back if he's able to win this game.
I mean, talking about Darkwings here, still losing the solo lane matchup versus Calmy just in the CS department. And he also was struggling in that last game as well. The Azir was fantastic. Now he could be in some trouble here. Calmy gets a big burst of damage as Arcane Storm will go out. Darkwings, though, links up with the jungler, so Calmy will back off.
Yeah, looks like the Grubs will still be going over to J4. I've heard very mixed opinions on if Grubs is low-key broken or if it's completely useless.
Wow, those are two very different
It really
opinions.
just depends on the game. It depends on if you're able to get a lot of turret hits off or if you can randomly block skill shots with it.
Okay, fair enough.
In this game, I actually feel like they're relatively useless against the Sivir, just because the Sivir is going to be able to withstand any any super push that you have later in the game anyway, but it's still decent experience for Hambach.
You also don't have like a solo laner that's really going to be pushing hard as Impact again uses the Mordekaiser ultimate onto Castle, dodging out on the Decimating Smash, and Castle's in some trouble here. Has the flash available. Wait for that shield cooldown, pulled back in, and he is alive. Did not have to use a summoner spell.
Just keep clicking away with the Doran shield, with Second Wind, with Spectre's Cow.
Yep.
Damage doesn't come out fast enough yet for Mordekaiser, but you can still see Impact pretty comfortable in this matchup. It's not like Castle is necessarily losing it, though, since top lane doesn't do anything but stay in lane. The only things that matter are turret plates, kills, and CS. And currently, Castle has actually not lost many plates. Looks like he's just down 1 plate.
Yep.
And is actually up in CS.
Oh, but he missed the cannon right as you said it.
Minus 0.5. They're not as valuable as they were last season.
Oh, true.
So
yes,
still,
Twitch chat, it's not -1. Get with the meta.
It's still minus
0.5.
1.
But he will get a push in here as Impact will walk up rather than TPing. So that will be TP advantage now.
He's going to get a plate too. So he's back even.
There we go. The little mini demolish that everybody gets with those crystals now. As gold in the favor of DSG. The 1 grub picked up by Sentinels, but answered for that dragon here. Next dragon in a minute and a half. DSG were able to get control over bot lane and mid lane for that dragon because of Calmy's laning prowess. And now he's 18 CS up over Darkwings. Doesn't look like that's slowing down anytime soon.
And I think the name of the game for DSG is just keep controlling dragons. They have Scion scaling in the top lane, who's going to be a strong tank for most of this game. Sivir can keep just shoving lanes in. You can see he completed his first major item as well, far ahead of where Rahel's Aphelios is going to be doing it. And then they just move around with Bard Xin, who are both pretty strong in the river. So no need to rush this. DSG in a good position.
So I want to have kind of a wider conversation, because it seems like we have some time before the dragon, about some of the mid laners coming in. Calmy, I'm getting almost hints of like how Saint started off last year, where he was a great individual performer and was getting big leads. I know it's only 1 series sample size, so maybe too early to call that, but so far you never really know how Korean players coming into the NA ecosystem are going to perform, but so far very impressed with how Calmy has looked.
Yeah, he's looking solid, especially because this team has been on such limited practice.
Yeah. Oh, nice low binding there from Lions onto Hambach. Some all in from Kizno. Get a teleport out from top lane. The advantage of TP means that we're going to have more members from Sentinels. The Bard ult will delay, but not save Kizno's life. And he cannot equalize onto Hambach. Rahel gifted the kill.
Yeah, also a teleport advantage there by Impact's Mordekaiser, so he comes in and makes a big difference, whereas Scion can't join. But they're pretty low, so I don't think Sentinels can just straight up win this dragon fight easily. Scion is on the way.
Sajed also has a completed item, so he's feeling confident to walk up. Has ultimate, has Ghost available. In comes the Scion that's flashed out of Hambach as Rahel's getting chunked out. Pops Ghost himself. Sajed not committing any summoner spells, will only use the ultimate. Pop the Happy Bee, say, get out of here. That dragon's going to be ours later. Kizno's back on the map and running straight there.
Yeah, big tempo win actually by DSG, even though they lose the fight initially. Look at this. They're going to be able to get an extra wave bottom. Rahel's going to be really sad as an AD carry. Watching this happen is always infuriating, and they get yet another plate.
Sajed the first one to complete the quest as well, so having a really, really good start here. Rahel had an early CS advantage, but that's gone. Now it's 20 in the lead for Sajed, plus that kill, as Calmy will confidently walk up and take that plate.
Yep, using all his cooldowns, but nice little trick there on Akali, throwing your shuriken into your shroud and then flying back to it after taking the plate. So opening up a bit more of a lead, 1,500.
Darkwings does have the upgraded laser though, so that will vastly improve Victor's shoving ability. It's going to be much harder for Calmy to actually get that mid lane push anymore on the Akali. You still have your 5-point strike, which will help, but it will be answered. So it's not going to be as free of a push for this dragon, as DSG did not immediately pull the trigger on it. And now top lane, Castle again in the Shadow Realm. Impact is just using this almost on cooldown here. More damage, and now Hambach as well. Impact picking up the kill on Castle.
Yeah, nice job there. Doesn't matter if you're walking over vision, if you're stuck inside a Mordekaiser ultimate the entire time. See if Impact can start snowballing a bit of a lead here. He was getting close to killing the Scion before. should be able to finish his Leandries shortly. Gonna definitely get a couple plates here after getting that kill.
But even though Hambach showed topside, Kizno was not close enough to Dragon to just immediately run there. So the immediate thought would be, oh, Sentinels, yeah, they get a kill, but they're punished because they give up another Dragon. They have a chance to contest this if they want to.
Yeah, we'll see here. I think Rahel got pushed back yet again, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, has to respect a possible dive since they don't have vision on Drake. If he stayed, there's a chance that Xin would have just dove him. So I mean, loses the game of chicken there by recalling since Kizno was on Drake.
And if you don't have Huhi with you, even the 2v1 dive with Bard ulting the turret, they can kill you so fast. So DSG will get the Dragon. Kizno has to
eventually
show back. He was at 1 health. I think he thought the pet would do it as he also smites away the blue buff. But now Huhi roams all the way topside. Castle is the focus. He has the ultimate, goes unstoppable. CC immune and gets to safety.
Cowards! Shouts as he flies away. Rahel gonna hope to get a few plates here, but I think the swap is going to follow them. Try to do a cheeky little swap there to get possibly some mid plates. Interesting to see if they stay up there, because you'd want them to be in mid lane soon, but I think they're going to keep Rahel up there against the Scion for at least another wave.
I mean, the top lane is down to 3 plates remaining. It's enough chunk that maybe they feel if they commit people there, they can try and capitalize on Castle, who also built magic resist, so the AD coming in from Rahel with an item and half completed will be felt much more.
It really feels more and more like this game's going to be coming down to the late game team fights. And how well can Sajed position on this Sivir versus how safe can Rahel and Darkwings be on their like double hyper carries. So it's a lot of it's on like Call Me and Lions for like flanking and threatening the Victor Aphelios and how well they can do that, because we know the Sivir is going to be scaling well.
And Sivir also with the Ghost and Flash, plus the ultimate, such high mobility for a champion that otherwise doesn't have like a dash or anything. Can be pretty hard to get on top of, let alone the spell shield. As DSG now start up this Herald, they have Sajed walking up from the mid lane. So Sentinels have a couple members here, but they're not immediately pulling the trigger. Now Rahel's coming down red and white on the Aphelios. He's ready with the Moonlight Vigil as well. Teleport's coming in. Now Kizno trying to keep Hambach away. Ults and will smite the objective, but now it's all focused onto Rahel. The Aphelios, what a Bard ult from Lions onto everybody. Sets up Call Me to go for the dive. He has to flash away into the smoke screen. Darkwings not able to get the damage out of the fight, but he might just kill Call Me. No, the Shuriken flipped to safety. Double kill to Call Me. DSG will get the objective, and they'll get out with a trade of kills, 2 for 2.
It's crazy that that fight was actually 2 for 2. It looks so bad for DSG at the very start because Kizno basically used all his cooldowns just to get the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
And then when a 5v5 fight breaks out, it's usually the team that didn't invest in going for the steal. But Lions' Bard ultimate disabling them for so long.
Oh, and Call Me was waiting in the brush, and he capitalizes on Darkwings unawares. Solo kill for Call Me.
That's just a guessing game right there. Call Me left that fight with almost no health but a red buff, looped around, had a bit of regen, and then goes for it. But watching this fight one more time, yes, you do get the smite steal, but then, like, look at this. It looked like Aphelios and Mordekaiser were going to clean up the fight until they get heavily delayed. And Call Me can't really get that much done when he flies in here, narrowly finishing off Hambach. But then, like, look at that. They think Call Me's out. They think he's completely out of the fight. He's at 50 health. Super smart of him to stick around, use the red buff regen, and get that next kill.
Darkwings did not expect that one coming here. As it seems like also Impact tracking that fight, the reason that he wasn't hit by the Bard ult is he pulled Castle into the Death Realm. So that seems to be the name of the game of the team fights, is just get the front line out of there.
Right.
But then you also aren't doing any damage or threatening the back line at all. So yeah, just a tough position for Sentinels in that moment. Great execution from DSG. And now Call Me 3-0-0. Plus a 22 CS lead over Darkwings. He's off to the races.
And waves pushed galore, but Call Me, after winning player of the game on Aurora, now has the gold to kind of carry this game because the front line is there for Sentinels, but they're 2 low mobility carries, 2 flashless low mobility carries, so if Akali gets the right flank, he can eliminate them from fights. It wouldn't matter how much damage they're doing.
As DSG try and push this wave in to get more plates on the mid lane. Dragon's up in a minute, and so is Baron in a minute and a half. It seems like DSG will be able to use this gold lead to just keep pushing for these objective stacks. Sentinels will have to find a really creative avenue in. They have the kind of front-to-back engage tools with the Rel and the J4, but as we highlighted in Pick and Ban, your backline has to worry about a Bard ulting them and a Kali flying in, and even your front line's engaging into a Sivir who can kite back and just shred through you. I'm really favoring DSG's position right now. It's going to be very hard for Sentinels to get back into this game.
I mean, 2 Drakes, 2,000 gold. You're getting kind of close to when objective bounties are going to turn on. Like, they do have a legitimate lead in this game, but game 1, they had a very large lead as well. Were unable to convert. Game 2, they did a lot better. So I still feel like this is winnable for both sides. I think it's really about just playing the Dragon game right here. How are they going to set up, retake, and try and get this 3rd Drake?
Also like to highlight anytime new items come in is, the back will finish. LYON's on the Bard, going for the Bandle Pipes, even with the extra gold added to the purchase.
Is so good.
Love this item on Bard. You drop 1 W on a teammate. Drop 1 Q on an enemy. Your autos also are able to slow once you get enough chimes picked up. So those meeps will just slow on auto, and then you get faster auto attack speed. Really, really good item.
Bandle Pipes was nerfed in this patch that we're playing on compared to where the other regions are playing. So it's a 300 gold more expensive, but I still feel like the aura value is so incredible. They might just be taking gold here and giving up this Drake.
Interesting. Oh, no, they TP in.
Drake's
it's going to be a
though.
late Drake contest. Drake is secured for Sentinels. As Call Me an Impact now 1v1ing. The Bard ult will land as Castle's trying to follow up. Lions takes a big chunk. Rahel in some trouble as Kizno diving deep with his top laner. Rahel does die. Impact does not win the 1v1 in the Death Realm. A double kill to Sajed as DSG will win the team fight. Still Dragon picked up by Sentinels. They're able to get 3 members out of there. DSG a 2 for 0.
Yeah, I mean, you could think the plan there for Sentinels was get the Drake, Mordekaiser will ult the Akali, and then maybe they'd be able to win the fight, but they just couldn't escape after that Bard ultimate sectioned them off, and then Kizno flew in with his Xin ult as well. So really opens this game up now. 5,000 gold after a sweeping team fight win. They push all the waves afterwards. They have total vision, and they didn't get the Drake, but I think they get a bigger lead after that one.
It does slow the Dragon stacking for DSG, but they got a lot of gold for that one as, again, LYONs, man, on the Bard is finding really good ults.
But look at Rahel. He's just in no man's land. This is what happens when you force a Drake without having waves pushed as well. You don't have a good retreat path, so they just completely annihilate him. More gold goes over to Sivir, and, I mean, he's got to feel great about this Bard angle. The carries can't dodge his ultimate. He's going to either get them killed or burn a flash every single time.
And we had talked about LYONs earlier, saying it's kind of a tough position for a player like him to be in. I mean, he's on the team LYON, his favorite organization in LLA. He name changed to LYONs because he wanted to play on that team. Then he gets dropped a year after they join North America, but this series so far, he has shown he is a very solid engaged support. He has found multiple angles to give DSG winning team fights.
Yeah, big shout out to DSG. Took them a while to win their first match last year.
Yeah.
If they win their first match here in 2026, it's going to be onwards and upwards for them. It's always so hard to judge based off the first game here because we are talking a lot about Kizno and him being emergency substitution, but even though Sentinels has everyone, they were delayed getting Hambach as well. So they haven't had their ideal amount of practice either, even if they are a more experienced team across the board. Definitely on the back foot, though. Not wanting to lose to DSG.
I will say some of the things that we've learned, though, because I had a lot of questions about Sentinels coming into this series. One thing we've learned is, I will say Impact looking better than he was last year. That was the biggest question mark, was which version of Impact would we get? I don't think this is MVP Impact, but it is solid Impact. He got a solo kill on Cassante and Renekton. He's got the lead right now in this top lane matchup. One of the other questions I had was, how is Darkwing's going to develop as a player? One crazy carry performance in game 1, rough performance on the Cassiopeia. This game, still a lot to be determined, but about 50-50. Rahel's been the bigger surprise for me, though. He hasn't really been able to bring it together. He was the one that I was like, oh, that's the rock of the team. That's the one that will be able to perform.
That was my expectation, too, was that Rahel was going to be this, like, hyper carry for this team that's able to get a bunch of gold and then carry team fights. But he just hasn't been able to get leads.
Against the Jet, the rookie 80 carry coming in here. So I guess there's always 2 sides of the coin. Tough for Rahel not being able to find these leads so far, but great for Sajed on a debut performance as a rookie here in the LCS, is who he gets chunked over the wall right there. DSG are fighting for buffs at this point. The next Dragon's in a minute and a half. Baron is still on the table right now. So if they find a pick, they're on the Baron side, they could just look for it, or they can look to find Dark Wings, swing and a miss from the Tempered Fate, flash out of Dark Wings, that Summoner Spell down for the mid laner, as Castle now slowed, the rest of Sentinels force flash out of the top laner. Castle trades Summoner Spells for Dark Wings, and no kills either way.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Sentinels is kind of hoping for any type of fight there, thinking that maybe Castle had overstepped, but all things considered, that's a win for DSG. Getting the flash out of Darkwing's Victor makes him a much more vulnerable target in the next fight. Call Me is definitely on a ward. Good chance he realizes it, I would think.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how Impact wants to play this, as he will pull him back in. Doesn't land the Q. Call Me getting big damage on the Impact. Yeah, he must not have, because now he is surrounded by 4 members of Sentinels. Will Perfect Execution flash away, but shut down regardless. Impact picks up the kill.
Big mistake there. Bounty goes over to Impact. Drake up in 30 seconds as well, so Call Me will only be able to teleport in about 10 seconds after it spawns. Decent chance Sentinels can control this, but gotta be a little careful. Sivir's still 3 full items. I feel like DSG is going to look to contest this. They will have Bard ultimate soon.
Can always look for the pick with that. 7 seconds until that is available.
They're going to try and burst it for sure. Rahel doesn't have the best guns, but he's going to try and cycle the better teamfight guns on this Drake.
And Call Me, even if he does TPN, won't have ult, won't have flash. So it's not even like that much advantage if they can stall this dragon. Maybe they find a pick, but it looks like engaged now from Who. He has Sentinels want to be the ones to pull the trigger. Kisno force back Sajed, shredding through Impact's health bar, as Who will die as well. The Bard ult onto Rahel. He's got a flash, and the goal doesn't go off. Sajed is bombing off in the team fight. Massive damage from the Sivir. A triple kill to Kisno. What did they feed these rookies for breakfast? They stepped up huge.
What a team fight there by DSG after a mistake from Call Me. They keep a calm head, they secure the Drake, and they're likely going to turn this into Baron as well.
It's the rookies that make the difference. Look at Sajed holding his own on Impact.
Dodges Q, spell shields the E, gets the kill. They get the Bard ultimate on Rahel. He immediately flashes, sidesteps, doesn't miss a beat, never cancels an auto, gets the reset on W, kills another one. He's not getting credit for the kills, but I feel like he carried that fight.
Oh, incredible performance.
Go, Sajed. You're on fire today.
Yeah, well played, bro.
Board flash.
He's locked in.
That's the response?
Yeah, no acknowledgement. You're on fire.
Of course I am. Yeah, that was expected. I knew.
What a beast.
Again, I got to talk with some of the players before they took to the stage today, and vibes were good, but it was very much more like a, we're just going to kind of have fun with it. We don't have the full roster together. We're going to give it our best shot. It wasn't like a, we're going to smash.
Good night.
As Call Me's doing just that. Another solo kill on a Dark Wings.
So what happens if Akali gets going in the side lane? You just wait in a bush for the other guy to show up, and then you one-shot him. So very nicely done by Call Me. And they kept the expectations low, and the feelings are so good when you are the underdog like this and you're this close to victory. So they are playing with style and confidence now.
And we saw Papa Smithy at Twitch chat say right there, baby Masu performing. A reminder, Sajed replaced Masu on FlyQuest Challengers. Masu was a huge call-up for the region. Sajed was the one that took his spot in Tier 2. And what a debut from this young AD carry. DSG will take the middle inhibitor. They're looking for the top turret next. And it doesn't look like they're slowing down with 3 cannon or Baron empowered cannons. They can just walk up. Impact will pull 2 of those under the turret, but the rest of Sentinels just can't quite stop the onslaught that is DSG. Castle will start taking the turret. Doesn't have the flash available. He's actually going to take a big chunk of damage right now, but the turret does go down. The Bard ultimate, it interrupts Hanbok.
No flash.
No flash on the Xin Zhao. No chance of survival. Call Me with his 5th kill of the game, and DSG with 5 members strong. Baron on 2 waves. They're going to look to end it right here, right now. Back from Castle, he can TP to the wave and help with the push, and they're going to do just that. Supers are now coming in the mid lane. Sentinels have to defend 4v5.
It's going to be real tough for them to do that. Castle taking down this first one. You always have to watch out about a call on the flank too.
Impact has the ultimate available. He's trying to 1v1 Call Me right now. The first Nexus turret will fall. Kisno goes back in onto Impact. He's just getting chunked down. Will pull Kisno into the ult and get the GA. But that's only an item cooldown. That's not the full kill. Now he comes out of the Death Realm into a slaughterhouse. Who he tries to engage, but the damage cannot follow up. Hambach will get one. Darkwings with a big shutdown, but DSG, they took down the Nexus turrets. DSG, they didn't need those 3 out of 5 members. They just needed this one shot. They'll win their first series of LCS.
It only takes them one series to get on the board here in 2026. Smiles all around for DSG. Some incredible rookie debuts. This was a shocking result based on our expectations.
Incredible upset. Sajet on screen, you can see him celebrating there. He wanted to shout out his brother watching at home, Elbara. Elbara, you should be proud right now, because Sajet just had one of the strongest rookie debuts we've seen in a while. And DSG just upset Sentinels, who just based on experience alone, we thought would be able to better this young roster. Lot of rookies here. A well-earned bow from this guy.